Hey everyone. Oh, there's my microphone. Hey everyone, welcome to the Dead Challenge podcast. My name is Josh. We've got some updates on the Brian Laundrie, the hunt for Brian Laundrie and the Gabby Petito case tonight. Lots to talk about. The day has been quite epic as far as things that are unfolding. There's some videos we haven't even looked at yet. We're going to talk about the law a little bit, or what we can find out about the law with his parents. Lots going on. Before we get started, everybody, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button so that we can get this thing popping in the algorithm. Really interesting things. I'm going to bring on Will a little later on in the show, just before he goes live, because he's got a couple of theories as well. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here for these conversations, for these chats. I think what people are really getting out of this is that we're just kind of shooting theories. We're talking about what could be. And possibly, you know, something could be said here. Somebody could say a chat that might spark something else. And there's a $20,000 reward if you find this guy. If you find him because of this chat, you split it with me. Deal? All right. There's been some videos that he's like up in Toronto. Okay. I doubt it. Like, how can he even get anywhere to get a COVID test to get into Canada? You cannot get into Canada without a PCR test. You literally can't get into Canada without a PCR test. And his shit's going to be flagged. He can't, they would turn him away at the border. So there's just no way he's here in Canada. I feel like 20,000 is a little bit low, to be honest with you, but I think they're just trying to scare him. Maybe. I don't know. I absolutely don't think he's at the alligator pond over by his house there at all. I think he's long gone somewhere. We're going to talk about, I think one of his friends, if I can get that article, one of his friends said he survived on peanut butter and cheese crackers for 2 weeks in the woods somewhere. So, this might be something. The FBI knows he is alive, or they wouldn't have messed with the warrant, per my husband, who is a lawyer. There you go. Bless this, Jess. I appreciate that. Oops. Every time I hear this, I'm on a boat. He's in a house. I mean, I guess he could be in a hole in the woods. He could be in a tree. Could be anywhere. He's hiding at Micah's house. We can find him. Okay. Okay, so first things first, why don't we take a look at the video we didn't see yet, which was, let me see if I can pop it up here. This one is by Nina Selly. She was at the restaurant the time they got kicked. And this is something we didn't look at. I know this has kind of been circulating. A lot of you have seen this video. And we're going to look at this video real quick. I'm going to pop it up here for you guys to see it. Let me get it going. My bad. No. Okay. So let's listen to what she has to say, because it's actually really, really interesting. Let me see if we get this over here so I can see. Where's the play button? Where's the play button? Okay, whatever. So let's have a look at this video.
Excuse my French, but I'm freaking the fuck out. Matt and I just realized, because I don't know, because I'm a freaking dumbass and I did not put two and two together, that we not only saw.
Can I just, I know you guys, I'm not trying to snark, but when you're talking about something this dead serious in a bathrobe, why do these people put like the craziest filters on their face? I don't get that. Just trying to be like, this is a serious conversation. People are trying to have a serious talk about this. And you're like, filter city. I'm not making fun of her. I'm just saying, why do people do this? Just social media. It's just, I'm saying.
But saw like a blowout of a situation between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie in Wyoming when we were there.
Okay. Don't stop yelling.
Freaking the fuck out. Yes, we have already talked to authorities. Like, how I did not put two and two together that this happened. Like, I don't know. So I'm following this case. Matt's not. He's a guy. He has other shit going.
What's that supposed to mean? He's a guy? So he's not following murder case? What? I've never seen this video, everybody. So sorry if I'm snarking a little bit.
Going on. He could probably care less. I'm filling him in on this case a couple days ago. And I guess maybe he Googled it and saw a picture of Brian. Matt has an insane photographic memory. And so for 2 days now, he's like, I fucking know that guy, Brian.
I gotta chill the language here.
And like, I don't know how, but I know this guy, Brian. Like, I've seen him before. When Matt says that, anyway, we were in Wyoming. So Matt woke up this morning and he's freaking out. And he's like, oh my God, I know how he looks familiar. Nina, we saw them in Wyoming. They were the couple fighting at the restaurant. We were at this restaurant, you guys. Friday, August 27th, 1 p.m.
Why are you yelling?
Sitting right next to them. They got kicked out of the restaurant.
Okay.
And were fighting with the hostess. They were fighting with the hostess. She was hysterically crying.
Okay.
And she walked out and she was crying and she was staying on the sidewalk. And I was watching the whole thing unfold. And he walked back in the restaurant and he's fighting with the hostess. And I didn't know what happened. I don't even know if they got kicked out, but they like left abruptly. And like she was standing on the sidewalk crying and he walked back in and was like screaming at the hostess and then walked back out. And then he walked back in like 4 more times to talk to the manager.
Wow.
To like tell the hostess off. And like
so he walked back in to tell the hostess off. So this guy is he's a loose cannon as far as we're seeing right now. This picture is being painted of him being a loose cannon for sure, right? She is over dramatizing this story, I get, and some people who likely like to tell story times and stories, if they're Instagrammers, this is just how they tell stories. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm interested in how they saw her.
All right, I'm calming down, and
okay,
I'm
well, hopefully
to speak more clearly. I don't even know if these videos are uploading or if they're uploading in order or if they make any sense.
Okay.
I'm just like freaking out right now. I'm having like an out of body experience.
You didn't have to say any of that stuff. Just get to the story.
I remember this situation. Like it just like left my memory. Like we stayed in Miami for another 4 or 5 days for a wedding and we just had like an amazing trip. And like, I didn't think about the couple fighting in the restaurant ever again. But Matt like knew he had seen this guy before and he could not drop it. And then it just like clicked this morning. He woke up out of bed and he was like screaming bloody murder. And he was like, oh my God, I know, I remember it was them in the restaurant. And it just like, I felt like my blood like left my body. I was like, oh my God, like you're right. Like it was them. It's just crazy. It feels surreal. Like now I feel, I don't know, just, it was
okay. Get to the
weird. And I remember this. Oh my God. Okay. So I'm going to try to go like more into detail now. I just wanted to get like the general, just like the gist of it out there.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to cry. This is so fucking weird.
Oh.
I went to the bath. They were sitting right next to us, like right fucking next to us. And we were both sitting right by the hostess stand, right by the front door. I went to the bathroom. I came back and they were like abruptly leaving. Like something happened. At first, my first thought was like they were displeased with the service and they were walking out or they were trying to get out of paying their bill. But it was kind of like a scene.
And she said this happened on the 27th, right?
And I was like zoned in for some reason. And Matt was like on his phone and I was like, babe, like put your phone down. Like something is like going on. You guys, it was like a fucking scene. Like something that doesn't happen every day at a restaurant. The way he was acting, she was crying, she was upset.
It sounds like she's dragging out a 30-second experience into 8 minutes. Now, I'm glad she's telling this because we have to hear this because this actually puts the timeline a little bit longer than we thought. So she's saying this happened on the 27th, right? Is that what we're saying?
That's right before she died. So she walks out, she's upset, she's crying, and he's like more angry. Like you could tell like it's more sadness for her and she's crying for some reason. I don't know if she was embarrassed or what, because I don't know. I couldn't hear. I don't know what was going on. I could just see what was unfolding. And so she's standing on the sidewalk. I could see her through the front door, and she's standing on the sidewalk crying. And he walks out with her, but then like right away turns around, walks right back in, and he's, kind of like violently walks back in. Okay, like talking to the hostess, and
she's making this sound like it was the craziest thing. And again, yeah, someone said that. Elia says, didn't check on her. Did you not go out to say, hey, girl, are you okay? And I'm not, again, it's not her responsibility. I'm just saying, if I saw something like that and this girl was absolutely broken down, I think I would step outside and say, are you okay? Do you need help? Like that's the kind of person I am. So I don't know. I'm not blaming her or anything. I just feel like there's this story is very, very, very drawn out.
You could tell he's angry and they're just kind of like doing the whole like sorry, like we don't know what to tell you kind of thing. You could tell he was relentless. He wouldn't drop it. Whatever it was, he wouldn't drop it. He walked out. He walked back in the restaurant probably 4 more times.
You said this already? Okay.
Just to kind of make a scene and just to get his point across, which, I don't know what that was. I really don't know what happened, but she just apologized. I think she was telling him like, come on, like just drop it. Let's go. And she like looked at the hostess and she was just like I'm sorry. And that was it.
Okay, but there's 7 more minutes left of this conversation.
I don't even know. I don't even have words right now. It's just weird. It's crazy.
Okay.
And I would have never remembered that. I would have never, like, I was so obsessed with the case and the story, and like I didn't even really think for the longest time at the fact that we were in Wyoming at the same time.
What bothers me about this story is that she says, I've been following this case like crazy. My boyfriend doesn't. But then the boyfriend all of a sudden looks at this guy. He's like, oh yeah, we were there. You don't remember that? You don't remember that fight? But I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Like it didn't even cross my mind. And that story of like a couple fighting in a restaurant, or that, you know, that situation, I would have never thought of that. Like I said, Matt, he just has this like extremely like strong photographic memory, and it just hit him. And
okay,
without a shadow of a doubt, I'm 1,000% positive.
All right, I'm not. She's gonna keep repeating the same thing over and over again, like every influencer in the world. I don't like that story, but at least we know. So can I get the confirmation for anybody who's seen that? Because I want to watch it again. It was the 27th at the restaurant. It sounds like they were for dinner. So the timeline for the RV going through the park with the footage, the 4K footage, that's 27th in the morning. Or no, it was 6:30 p.m. How does that make sense if they're out for dinner around the same time? Or did they go to an early dinner? I got to know. It was 1 p.m. Okay, thank God. Okay, so that makes more sense. So here, now it's starting to make sense. They're out for lunch at this place. Sorry I missed that, guys. There's so much going through my head right now. So they're out for lunch at this place. Shit goes down, right? He freaks out. He's already on edge. He's getting kicked out or whatever the case may be. It's 1 p.m. She's like, forget it. She's crying. It's a scene. This, again, from August 12th up until this point, okay? There's fights. There's cops being called. It's getting worse and worse and worse. As we see the timeline continue up to the point of lunchtime on August the 27th, then when that RV drives by at 6:30 p.m., that's probably when something went down. Did they go back? Did he do it on the way? What happened? Were they fighting the whole way? And then now it sounds like just got out of hand. And that's what we're going to talk about for the warrant. Okay. The warrant was issued today. Let's bring that up for you guys here, so you can see it, because now things are coming to sharper focus, right? So here's the arrest warrant. United States District Court, United States of America versus Brian Christopher Laundrie. You are commanded to arrest and bring you before a United States magistrate judge without unnecessary delay. The name Brian Christopher Laundrie, blah blah blah, for an indictment. And let's talk. Let's see what the charge is. Here's the charge. From on or about August 30th, 2021, through and including on or about September 1st, 2021, in the District of Wyoming and elsewhere, the defendant, Brian Christopher Laundrie, knowingly and with intent to defraud, used one or more unauthorized access devices, namely a Capital One bank debit card ending in 8, whatever, and then another card, and then by such conduct obtained things of value aggregating to $1,000 or more during that period, which affected interstate commerce. Okay, so here's what's happened. Here's my conjecture. Here's what I think is going on. They don't have enough to make him a suspect in the case for murder, right? Because I guess they just have to be really careful. So just like, who's that infamous mobster? I forget his name, but they brought him down through tax, right? I forget the guy's name. But so they're just looking for something. They have this thing and they're like, okay, well, that gets us partly to where we need to be, so we can start bringing in more federal authorities and find this guy, with haste. So yeah, so look at this. If the FBI dated the use of the credit card being the 30th through the 1st, they were probably waiting for confirmation of time of death. Exactly. They were waiting for confirmation of time of death. Likely the parents were too. And the parents have said, hey, if that's the case, she died on the 27th, and it looks like the 27th seems to be the magic number, the date that this all went down. And so they're like, okay, he was using it when she was deceased, right? And the parents probably have the records of that kind of stuff. The FBI has those records, and he pulls out a bunch of money, likely on the 29th when he went up to the place, right? Where he was picked up by those people, offered them $200 cash. There's an ATM in that machine, or there's an ATM machine in that building. We've confirmed it, and it looks like that's where he pulled the money out. I mean, I don't know, but it makes sense, right? Where else is he going to pull money out in that whole park? It seems like he was looking for a place to pull money out. Is there a way we can find out where ATM machines are at this park? Like, is there a way we can do that? Find an ATM near you. ATM finder, Google Maps. Let's take a look here. Let's go to, where are we? Where am I? Canada. Where are you? Sorry, guys. It's taking, just trying to find it here. I can't find it. Anyway, not that it really matters, but okay, so that makes sense. So that's what they're using to have an arrest warrant. He needs to be arrested. Otherwise, he was only person of interest. I'm not even sure if they didn't have this a warrant now that he could have been arrested. I don't think that's, like, I don't know. That's does anybody have someone who's connected to a police officer that says if he was only a person of interest, could he have been arrested? ATM showed up on Google Maps. So let me go back to Google Maps. My bad, guys. I'm going to just search it up. It was up in, sorry guys, Coulter Bay Village is where we're going to go. Okay, let's go directions. Okay, so yeah. So this is what we're saying. Someone said there was an ATM in there, and you can pull out 200 several times. I know on my bank I can pull up to $1,000 a day through my ATM. So it depends. He's probably pulling out multiple. Plus, he had multiple cards. So not only did he pull her debit, he was probably pulling her credit stuff out as well, right? To get home. That solves the mystery of where did he get the $200? We assumed his parents sent it to him, right? But now we know he was using her credit cards. I don't even know if any of us even said that. I mean, somebody likely said it. Trying to send me pictures? Where are they sending those pictures? I don't know. Sorry. Dana said, okay, good. Thank you, Dana. You are awesome for saying that, because that's awesome. You were onto that. This is why this chat is important, everybody, because we're saying things that likely some of us might not think of. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And then it starts putting all these pieces start falling in together. Okay, so we've got the arrest warrant. He's on the run. I want to talk a little bit about accountability and what it means for Brian's parents. Someone had sent me this. Okay. Someone said that his parents cannot be charged for accessory after the fact. Yeah, I addressed this at the beginning. No chance. This guy's not in Canada. Here's why he's not in Canada. You need a PCR test to get into Canada. They're like $200, first of all. Second of all, his passport absolutely was being flagged by the FBI. And unless he was in Toronto like 2 weeks ago or something like that, I don't know. But if it's recent, there's no way. Plus, you can't drive in. So it's not that he drove in. He'd have to fly in. You can only fly in and out of Canada if you're doing work, right? Again, he would have been flagged. If he pulls up to a border, they're going to scan his passport and be like, yeah, you're not coming in here. I highly, highly, highly doubt he's in Canada. A PCR test is a COVID test. Sorry, where'd that go? It is an expensive COVID test. In order for me to get to the US, I need a rapid antigen test. It's like $40, okay? In order to get back into Canada, it's like $150, $200 test that has to be done within 3 days of coming into the country. So, and I just flew to Florida, so I know this stuff. You can't walk into Canada. I mean, you can try, but you'll be flagged. Like, we have very sophisticated borders. I remember someone saying up near Maine, there's a border up there near New Brunswick, right, where Mount Katahdin comes over. There's a border and there's a skiing trail, and people were skiing and they were snowshoeing, okay? And the guy took like 10 steps into the US and it was like flagged instantly. I'm telling you, he's not walking over the border. You cannot drive into Canada right now because our borders are saying no thanks, unless it's for business, unless you have like legit paperwork saying I'm going to the US to deliver these products, or I'm going for work. You have to have legit, and they'll call the other place and say, like, the only way we can travel between your countries right now, just for la-di-da-ness, is through airlines. Hey, I climbed Mount Katahdin. So is that a good thing? I don't know. It was a long time ago. I mean, again, highly, highly doubt it. And they said it was spotted in Toronto and it was wasn't it a flight attendant that said they saw him? So we can look at that video if you guys want, but I doubt it. This seems to be what a lot of people are saying. Carrie Lynn is right, I think. We're going to go over that. Again, we have another article about the idea of his parents. They have 3 days. Let's do it. Let's do where they could have possibly gone in 1 day and a half. And then 1 day and a half, we'll do like a radius type of thing, okay? Okay, let's look at this article. This pissed me off when someone said it today. In Florida, let's read it. Florida Statute 77.03 defines what it means to be an accessory after the fact in Florida. When you violate this law, you assist someone after he or she committed a felony by helping in his or her evade arrest, trial, conviction, or punishment. In so doing, you yourself commit a felony offense. This is what Love Meg's dad did. If you guys don't know that, head over to my channel. I've got tons of videos on other people. I don't do real crime. So if you're here and you don't know what I do, make sure you know what I do. I am against the exploitation of kids online. That's what I do. So, however, there is an important exception written into the law known as the related person exemption. OMG. This provision holds that an individual can't be charged with accessory after the fact if they are suspects. And here are the people who are exempt. This is insane to me. Wife, husband, parent, grandparent, child, grandchild, brother by blood or marriage, sister by blood or marriage. So based on that, and we're going to continue to read, just think for a second. His parents literally could have helped him, and they will not suffer any consequences for accessory after the fact. Okay, that is crazy. Those who are not protected are uncle, aunt, cousin, mother, father, shared child, girlfriend, boyfriend. Okay, even though in some cases these individuals are technically related to the suspect, they aren't protected under related person exemption. Okay. At the Answer Law Firm, we know the only time this related person exemption is not applicable is in the cases of child abuse, which that makes sense. But murder? Murder. The child abuse exemption indicates what the underlying felony involves: child abuse, not child neglect or the death of a child. Any person, related or otherwise, can be charged with accessory after the fact. So I consider this a death of a child. So I'm not a law professor. This scenario is where most accessory after the fact cases arise because people are more likely to protect a suspect who are the closest. And we know that. We've talked about that, right? It's only under this exemption they can be prosecuted. Those not protected under this, okay, we'll go examples of accessory after the fact. You can be charged with accessory after the fact in Florida if you aid someone who committed a felony in hiding or fleeing from the criminal justice or correctional system, right? Parties to the crimes are classified as either principals or accessories. The key distinction is that the principal is the person who committed the felony, while the accessory is someone who helps the felon after the completion of the felony. So if I'm reading this right, and I think I am, his parents will suffer no consequences for helping him. Am I right about that? Is anybody here a lawyer? This is what I'm thinking. Now, let's look at accessory after the fact for Wyoming, because because I don't know. Here's the thing that's kind of getting me a little bit. Like, the crime was committed in Wyoming. The fraud was committed in multiple states. Okay. And then they helped him after the fact. Is Florida law protecting them because they're in Florida after the accessory crime in Wyoming? Right? That's what I'm trying to figure out. This is why I wish I knew lawyers. Right. But the accessory after the fact did happen in Florida. Okay, so this is okay. So federal. Okay, let me take a look. Doing a video. Doing a video. I'm live. Okay. I mean, why would you lie? I get it that girl seemed like a little bit of a storyteller, but why would you lie about that? The clout you're going to gain from that is gonna be severely shadowed, diminished by the cancellation that will be soon to follow, for sure. So it looks like a lot of people are saying, because you guys are all U.S., I'm Canadian, that federal is different than state, and this because it became federal and it's across state lines and everything else, that it does not exempt them. The restaurant confirmed the sighting. Okay, Rock said it too. Okay. So it's confirmed. Okay. That's why I don't think she's lying. But at the same time, it was just like a 30-second story that she's eking out. I invite her on the show, but now I realize I don't really need her on the show because she said everything she needs to say in 10 seconds. Okay, so I just wanted to say that, and then I wanted to bring up this article here. This has been kind of a driving interest to me since the beginning, right? We now know for sure by the interview with the across the street neighbors, they were seen. Now it's still kind of up in the air. I keep hearing that they're saying the 11th is when they left. Yeah, I think this is right. Oh, geez. Chat's going fast. Sorry, guys. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to put that one up there, but thank you. Okay. Okay. Supreme law of the land and thus take priority over any conflicting. Okay. That makes sense to me. Okay. So let's talk about this article for a second. Do you guys know when the interview happened with the across the street neighbors? Was it 9, 10, 11 that he said they took off on the 9th and came back on the 11th? Is that the case, or was it the 11th they took off on? Who knows for sure? If I'm coming in blurry, everybody just refresh the feed. 8th through 11th. Kara, that's what I thought. This is what I thought. But the news is still reporting that it was the 11th that they left. So it doesn't make sense. But it would be interesting if it was the 11th they left, because what happened on the 11th? I think it was the 11th or the 10th. Didn't Gabby's dad come to their house? Okay, around the 11th is what they're saying. Oh, see that, and so this is what everybody's confused on this one. This, I'm pretty sure Gabby's dad went to the house either the 10th or the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm also not mistaken, and it could be, did confront them. I was under the impression they came back on the 11th. Right? That's what I was under the impression. And then they reported her missing because didn't the dad go over to the house on the 10th and say, where's Gabby? And then they wouldn't say anything, or the 11th. And then they called the police. It sounds like Gabby's dad went to the house. They lawyered up, shut their mouth. He said, okay, call the police right now. That's when everything am I right about that? Okay. Everybody's saying something different. Who's got a receipt? Who's got a receipt? If they left on the 11th, then that changes the story crazy, right? So if Gabby's dad shows up at the house, they say, we're not saying a word. He's probably freaking, right? Because I would be freaking, right? Probably flipping right out, okay? Everybody freaks in the house, and then that's when they peace out, right? That's when they take off and go drop him off wherever they're going to drop, because that does make a difference, everybody. Confronted them on the 10th, okay? So then they were still at the house on the 10th. Or you just read a story about that. So then this is what I thought too, Kara, that I thought it was the 9th through the 11th. Yeah, this is what I thought. They called the police because he showed up the night of 10th and flipped on them, and which I would have too. So again, until we can have that corroborated, if he shows up at the 10th and confronts them, they are obviously not gone yet, okay? But that makes more sense for them to leave on the 11th because he confronts them, they flip out, they pack the thing, right? This little they pack this thing up. Can you see my mouse cursor? You can't really see it. Let me see if we can. Can you see my mouse cursor now? Can't really see my mouse cursor. Okay. But this thing here, they're packing that thing up, putting it in that red truck, and they're going, right? Yeah, over the weekend. Okay. Let's read this. Where Brian Laundrie's parents may have taken him in their camper after he came home without Gabby Petito. Let me read this for you. As the search for Brian Laundrie continues, people all over the internet and across the country are searching for any clues or theories that might lead authorities to pinpointing Brian's location. Recently, Charlene and William Guthrie, who live opposite the Laundrie's Northport, Florida home, claimed the family had gone on a 3-day trip a week after Brian returned from home, Grand Teton National Park. According to William, about a week after Brian's return home, he had seen Brian and his father packing up a new camper for the camping trip, leaving just before the Petito family reported their daughter. So just before. So it sounds like he left on the 10th. This is starting to make more sense. Or they left right in the 11th in the morning. Where did Brian Laundrie and his parents go in their camper after he came home from Wyoming? The Guthrie said the FBI are aware they witnessed the family head off on a trip, but no further information has been released about where or why. I saw them doing some work, and when they prepared for the trip, I saw them loading the camper. The couple admit they didn't know much about Laundrie or his trip. That's it. This is where this gets a little bit crazy. So okay, so it was the 10th he confronted, the 11th they pieced out. Now, we know that they were gone for like 3 days. Here's the thing that's really sketchy about this. If they were gone from the 11th, and I'm going to bring up my calendar here. 11th was a Saturday, and if they came back on the 13th, okay, that gives them 3 days. And then Tuesday, they said he went to the park himself. Remember, they said the last known sighting of him was Tuesday. He went somewhere on Tuesday. That's what they said. Okay. Then they brought the cops in on the 17th and said he's been missing since Tuesday. Remember that. The dad confronted them. I'm pretty sure he did. Went to their house and was like, "Where's my daughter?" And I totally don't blame him. So right now it's making a little bit more sense as far as the timeline goes to why they pieced out so fast, right? Packed up this little mobile home. What did they put in there? And remember, if I can find the article, someone said that he survived, if I can find this, that he can survive for 6 weeks on peanut butter and cheese crackers. Does anybody have that article? Dad's lawyer says Dad never went there. Dad called the cops on the 10th to check if Gabby was there. She wasn't, so they filed the missing. Okay. But again, cops probably went there. Because if the cops went there on the 11th to say, hey, where is she? Okay, so this is way more confusing. Because didn't the cops show up on the 11th and they said, here's my lawyer, bye? So they didn't take off on the 11th. How does this make any sense, everybody? How does that make sense if they were gone on the 11th? Because didn't the cops say we went there and they totally Fifth Amended us and said bye? Or was the lawyer at the house? This doesn't make any sense. And I don't think we're confused for the sake of being confused. I'm thinking this doesn't make sense because of what we know from the police. They said missing person on the 11th. The police have to go there. Unless the neighbors were just completely confused, which is quite possible. Yeah, okay, well, this is the most likely scenario. Occam's razor. The cops show up, plead the fifth, bye, hop in the truck and go. At that point, there aren't a lot of people on their street milling about yet, right? Yeah, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and the like so this gets in the algorithm and hits the algorithm. Right. So if this were the case, Jennifer, that's crazy to me, right? If this is the case that the lawyer's just chilling at their house waiting for the cops to show while they're gone, doesn't make sense. Would the cops make a report to say we did go to the house, we noted what was in the driveway, we noted what the house looked like? Did they make notes like that? Mm-hmm. This is why this is so perplexing to this, because we're hearing a whole bunch of conflicting stories about what went down where, but at least we know that they did take off. At minimum, we don't know exactly when, but we know they took off likely after the police showed up, or the lawyer was there and said, we're not taking any comments or questions. And then they were might have been already gone, but we know it was gone for about 3 days, right? We do know that. Okay, so they recently drove to Orlando to meet with a lawyer, but no lawyer at house. He was on speaker. So, okay, so if that's the case, they open the door, they have their lawyer on speakerphone. Lawyer says, the lawyer speak to the cops. The cops are like, okay, bye. They close the door, load up and take off. Let's just be there. That makes the most sense at this point. Okay, so they get in the van and they go. And again, with a missing persons case, why is he not being surveilled? And again, when they said they knew where he was and he was being surveilled, it's just the more we dive into this case, everybody, the more we realize the negligence of police. I don't know if it's laziness, negligence. Is it not enough people on the force? I don't know. And I don't want to bash police because I'm a huge supporter of police. But in this case, there's been a lot going on from August 12th with the body cam stuff, to the call that they got before they pulled him over, to why are they not surveilling the one person of interest in a case? There's so much going on here. Yeah, they could have left by 4. Exactly. Yep. Well, if they weren't taking it seriously then, when this blew up, they're probably like, OMG. Okay. The problem is that it's hindsight. They don't know how badly they're going to mess up until this thing goes as viral as it goes, right? This is perplexing to me as well, Alicia. Why are they still searching there? So let's take a look at a map, okay? Let's go into Northport, Florida. Okay. Get down there and we'll go to Appalachian Trail, Appalachian Mountains. Wow. The Appalachian starts up. Does anybody know how close the beginning of the Appalachian Trail is to Northport, Florida, or to around Tampa, Orlando area? Yeah, there are trail cams. Again, this guy could have a full beard by now. It's been a month since he's seen, right? Could have a full beard, could be. Yeah, it takes 6. I know this. I had a friend who did this, and I think it took him 3.5 months. Just insane. I am on Google Earth right now. It's showing the Appalachian Mountains. I want to know where the trail is, though. There's a bunch in Florida. Oh, what? I did Google Appalachian. I did Google it, and it brought me to some Appalachian Trail restaurant. So that's not what I'm looking for. That's what I'm thinking, right? Appalachian Trail, Florida. Yeah, I mean, we're not here to solve the case here, Spivey. We're just here to talk it out. And that's what, and I mean, showing that we're confused is actually Appalachian. Did I spell it Appalachian? Appalachian. Oh. Goes from Georgia to Maine. And isn't Georgia super close to Florida? Anyway, I just want to know where that Appalachian Trail starts. I want to pinpoint that on the map to see how far if it takes to get to that trail, how much time they need. Maine through Florida. Does anybody know where the Appalachian Trail begins in Florida? So you got Northport down here, and what I typed in lands you up here. Okay, and that's only 116 miles, only an hour and a half. It's not in Florida. Scroll up. Starts in Georgia. Okay, thank you. We're getting somewhere. Let me get that done for you guys. Okay, this makes more sense now. Okay, so here we go. Check this out. So if they drove up to the Appalachian Trail here in Georgia where it starts up here, okay, let's assume that this is it. Hopefully it is. That is a 8-hour and 28-minute drive. Who is this? So I'm right there. Okay. So they've got 3 days to figure out what they're doing. They're splitting out from North Point. They go up here, and maybe not even necessarily they dropped them off here, but maybe they said, let's see how far we can go. Drop them off even farther into the Appalachian Trail. You know what I mean? It can be within a day and a half of driving, they can get all the way up to Canada easily. It's 24-hour drive from Tampa to Canada. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying a lot of people are saying Appalachian Trail because of that backpack thing. We know that he is proficient in hiking. If someone can pinpoint that article where their friend is saying, yeah, we know he can survive for 6 weeks on cheese crackers and peanut butter. So okay, the deer cam is out. The guy came forward. The police said it's not him. We know the guy. It's out. It's been debunked. As far as I know. Well, my backyard's really small, so and I have cameras everywhere. I would have seen him. Interesting. Yeah, no, I know, Gone with the Gale. I'm not saying that they drove on the Appalachian Trail, but likely could have found a different entranceway into the Appalachian Trail. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they drove up a more north to a different entrance into the Appalachian Trail. Does that make sense? I like your name, by the way, because like Gone with the Wind, but it's a gale, and a gale is a wind, and your name is likely Gale. Very cool play on words. Just saying. Yeah, perhaps. I mean, it's a small trailer. He's been living in a van for months, so not too far off, maybe. But again, the fact that they went, we have to go back to the fundamental nature of what they did. Okay, they literally left when they knew that somebody was missing, and he knew that she was murdered. Okay, they left somewhere. Where would they have gone for poops and giggles to go camping? Right? Where could they possibly gone? And then we don't know if he was seen again after that, even though the police said, yeah, we know where he is. And then they didn't know where he is. The police are not going to tell the public everything. We don't know. So we're sitting here making up stuff. I agree. Yeah, that truck is a newer truck too. So they likely, I don't know if they're allowed to do that because I don't know. That's a good question, actually. From what I know of Florida, probably. There's tolls everywhere. You want to go down the street to the 7-Eleven? There's a toll. Florida is like toll city. I don't think so. I don't see it. The 3-day trip changes everything. The trip in that caravan changes everything. And I guess, Floridians likely know, and you can type in Waze and other GPS apps to avoid tolls at all costs, right? So you can say in your app, no tolls. So maybe they did that. I was in Florida for like 2 days and I got I went through 85 tolls. Okay. Do you guys want to, let's go through this Canada thing because you guys aren't going to let this go. Let's do it. Let's find this. Not in Canada. And if he is, I'm going to find him and find that and make that 20 grand myself. Then what are you guys going to do? We'll all go to Chuck E. Cheese. My treat. Okay, let me find this footage. Where's that lady who's talking about it? Okay, here we go.
Picking up a DoorDash outside, and I noticed.
All right, here we go. Let's debunk this because I'm not convinced. Okay.
And I was picking up a DoorDash outside, and I noticed this guy.
Nope. Whoa. What? I think the mustache is off a little bit, but what? Oh, guys, can we not forget something right now? Can we not forget that everybody is wearing an effing mask everywhere? Let's not forget that. You know how hard it is to find somebody who's wearing a mask? How has no one ever said that yet? You can wear a mask everywhere, and it is normal. He could be wearing a mask like crazy and a hat. You'd never see who this guy was wearing a mask and a hat. Why have nobody ever been saying that? Okay, Sarah said it, apparently. So, thank you. I don't know what's on that shirt, but once that guy's picture popped up, I can see why they think it's him. But I think the mustache is too full in the top of the face. Let's not forget, everybody, mask mandates in Canada. You can't go anywhere, no airports. If you're even pulling up you can't walk into a store without a mask here. If you are like asked to leave, it is crazy here. Tom? Tom says he saw an interview with former FBI counterintelligence director. He says he believes the parents will be summoned to a grand jury very soon. Some lady who has a lawyer for her husband email. Okay. But don't forget too that didn't they have a police escort? They left today somewhere. They went to be questioned or something. The guy on this looks a little bit thinner, but imagine Brian's on the run anyway, likely surviving on nothing. He's not going to be pounding the food. Doesn't want to go to stores. He doesn't want to get food. He's likely going to lose weight. It's been a month, everybody. He's already pretty skinny. He might have lost weight. Okay, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, maybe he is. But let's continue.
Was getting flustered walking out of a hotel. He got back into his car and drove off with another guy. And I went downstairs to let the hotel know. And they said that he didn't know where he was going. He had the wrong hotel. And I'm just trying to figure out if this looks like him or if I just fell too far down the rabbit hole.
It's not him. The forehead is different. The upper mustache is way bigger. It's not him.
I mean, you can see the dip in his
He's older.
mustache, like right here, where it is on the left side. And then like the ears like bent down on this side, but my ear gets bent down when I put my mask on, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
It's not him, but I mean, yeah, at least people have their eyes peeled is what I'm saying. It's not him. He's not in Canada. I promise you that. Oh, it's confirmed it's not him. Okay. They said it was August 30th. This makes more. So this changes the story again. Where did he get the $200 then to offer the people who were hitchhiking that he was hitchhiking with? So then our first assumption was that his parents sent him money, right? And he took it out of his own debit. And then if he's starting to run out of money, he's pulling out money from her cards August 30th. But hear me out. I know that with my bank, if I pull money out of a debit terminal and I look on my statement, it often will say the next day. Because sometimes it takes, specifically, it's up in the middle of nowhere. It could take an extra day to read. Yeah, I'm sure they could. I mean, I don't know if I was him. In all the photos of me of my shaved head, I would be growing my hair out. I would be wearing a mask, wearing a hat. I wouldn't go cue ball. I would go full beard, if anything, or fake full beard. I would do mask and I'd do hat. Don't think he's going to keep his head like that. I would do a wig. Totaling 1,000 plus. So it was probably likely way more than 1,000. They just have to minimum 1,000 to have that warrant. Yes, agreed. But I think overall we are narrowing it down to the 27th being the day. The argument happens at the restaurant at lunch at 1 p.m. Freaks out by what's her name going crazy on the story. Then that night, RV drives by, the door closes. It's so incredibly scary to think, too, that at that moment, that could have gone down like that. The door closing. What did that mean? Was the door open? Did he do something? I don't know if they're ever going to release how she was murdered, but it'll probably likely make more sense to why that door was closing and what happened. Yeah, you need your vaccines too to come into the country. I don't know if he's anti-vaccination. I don't know.
So
So I'm going to show you these photos someone sent me. because I think I want to debunk one of these theories here, to be honest with you. So this is the photo of her holding a gun, and they might think it's there. We looked at that the other day. Not that it doesn't really mean much. Okay, then we look here. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, look, it's bullet holes. It's bullet holes." We got to debunk. I think we have to debunk this because I don't think that. I think the police would have been called if you're hearing bullets going on and people screaming and everything else. You're calling the cops. Plus, I'm not a detective or anything. Okay, but I don't think they spray paint holes to indicate where the holes are. I think these might be. I don't know what that means, but I don't think they're going to spray paint it, right? I don't know what this means. Does anybody have any confirmation on the... I know that they spray paint trees like this to indicate which ones to cut down. So when the arborists come by, they know which ones to cut down. This looks like a dead tree to me that's gutted and then just want to, you free the dead trees so that you can grow fresh trees. This looks to me like it's just an arborist mark that says, hey, cut this one down. I don't know. But this is one of the saddest photos of the whole thing. The dad went there and created a cross on the ground as a memorial, which is so sad. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see them, and I don't know because I'm not a forensics professional, but I don't see them spray painting the evidence. Yeah, these marks as trail markers. I want to say they have given interviews. I think he's been on. Hasn't he been on, what's his name? Dr. Phil? Hey, Gus. Hey, Gus back here. But I think likely their lawyers like, keep your mouth shut. Anything you do from this point forward when he's caught is going to only be against you when we're trying to serve justice. I could be wrong about that, but I think any lawyer's like, you got to stay quiet about this. You can't be out there because... Again, it's just going to be detrimental when it comes time to get a jury and everything else, right? I could be wrong about that. Could be, yes. And again, once they have the confirmation, they're definitely grieving. They don't want to be on camera. I can't see it. It would look bad anyway, right? If they're out there getting interviews and doing everything, it's not going to look very good. Yeah, this is if you guys go to Will's channel, The Glarer, he was talking to me about some guy he interviewed a few times that did this, was on the run and all this kind of stuff, and it's apparently really interesting. So I'm going to bring Will on a little later. He's going to talk to me about that theory. He was on Dr. Phil before they found her, yeah. Oh, interesting. Pin Hottie Trail. Am I saying that right? Yeah, this makes sense to me because, again, why are you going to go out there and say, we know it's him, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get out there and start getting angry. And they have a right to be, right? They absolutely have a right to get out there and try to get justice any way that they can. But I think in a court of law, when you're trying to build a jury of 12 people, everybody on the planet Earth has heard of this story now. It's going to be super difficult to find a jury that hasn't heard the story that won't be biased in some way. Okay. This is why I think it has to go from a misdemeanor to a felony. They had to put that $1,000 or more tag. They said or more. It's more, right? We know he's probably going to try to pull as much as he possibly can out of there. But the minimum is 1,000 for the felony, right? So. This is why that timeline is really creeping me out. With the girl at the restaurant, and the restaurant sighting was confirmed at 1 p.m. They got kicked out or they left or something went down. They were likely fighting, and the server was like, why don't you guys take it outside or whatever the case may be. And then they went back. They get in the van. They head back. He's probably fuming at this point because remember he kept going back into the restaurant 4 times trying to like get it, and she's like, I'm so sorry. They likely got into heated argument, and then something went down. RV drives by at 6:30. That's when this thing could have gone down. He sees the RV, he puts her body where they found her, like a few hundred yards away, pieces out, or sits there and tries to figure out what to do. Just insane. Or he had her there for a day or two trying to figure out what to do. Imagine, because she did say in that video, she's like, we were going to stop and say, hey, Florida plates, what's up? Could you imagine if they did stop and discovered something that went down? What could have happened? Like, oh my goodness, that's scary to think about. Yes. Makes sense to me, but not even necessarily, because think about this. I mean, yes, we think that because it was creepy, but remember, he didn't get picked up for hitchhiking until the 29th. So it could have happened 27th or 28th, or even 29th in the morning. Or night. Dead of night. Early morning. Could have done that. Again, we don't know how she was found. We don't know what the cause was. Once that comes together, we'll know more. I don't know if they're ever going to release that. Did they ever release that in cases like this? It could. I mean, again, the timeline makes sense for it happening, but think about it. If they're having this intense, crazy public argument at 1 o'clock at the restaurant, right? If they're having that, it seems to me like that's when everybody's fired up. Everything's going crazy. Okay. I want this guy found tonight, and I think that they're searching in the wrong spot. Like, I think that I don't know if they're just doing something for the sake of doing something to say, hey, look, we've exhausted everything we could do. I just can't see him being there where they're looking because of the case of the drive. We don't know if he was seen when they got back. That is an up in the air thing, unless the police know something we don't know, that, yeah, he was back. But are they going off what the parents say? Because there was no other neighbors that saw anything. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that the police don't know anything, and I don't think I'm smarter. I just feel like we're all frustrated because likely they know something we don't. Yes, but at the same time, this whole movement, this whole 3-day trip, that has to play. That has to be in play here. Okay, let me see. Tagged me in them. You tagged me in them, or did you? Second here. I don't see anything tagged here. Sorry. I don't see anything here, Gabby. Sorry. Now, Jennifer, is it confirmed that they had a police escort somewhere? A lot of people were assuming they were going to be questioned, but maybe they asked for a police escort to go see their lawyer. Is that what happened? Natalie, I think this is likely what they're doing because they have the side sonar. They're looking for masses inside the water. I don't see it because of this trip. This trip is throwing a wrench in everything. This 3-day trip. Now, this is an interesting theory that they drove from here. Let's do it. Let's take a look. So they're driving from North Point to Spread Creek. Okay. That is a 35-hour drive. They quite possibly have 3 drivers driving 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, 4, it doesn't matter. You can have 3 people rotating through, someone sleeping in the back, and then someone driving the whole way through. You've got 3 days to get there and back with a few stops, maybe no stops. Okay. Because again, think about what's on the line here, everybody, right? What is on the line? And so I don't think this is right. I'm just going to entertain the theory. So they have 3 days from the 11th to pop there and get back. We don't even know a confirmation of when they got back, what time. But could they get there and back in 3 days? Yes. Look at it. 35 hours there, which is a day and a half. Let's just be fair. They have a day and a half to get there and back with a few, maybe 10 plus hours in between to do something. If they're all driving on a shift. I don't know. That's creepy. The parents did lie about the Mustang. They had that Mustang in their driveway Wednesday, not Thursday. Brian Enton has photos. Okay. Yeah, I'm just entertaining the theory that he's like, look, I think that I didn't dispose properly. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to go. I don't know. I highly doubt this theory is. But again, we're here to talk about theories. That's what we're doing here. We're not saying we know the answers. We're just trying to. If someone has an interesting theory, it's interesting to look at. Yes, please do. This is true. Again, I don't think that this theory is plausible. Just saying, could they do it is what I'm asking. Do they have the time from the 11th and then 3 days after to get there and back? And yes, they do have the time to do it with 10 or 11 hours to spare. So the 3-day theory came from the neighbors said that they packed up and left for like 2 or 3 days, what they said. And it was on or around the 11th. Yeah, my videos will stay up. No, when they pick up my paychecking, offer them 200 cash, they're saying that it was the 30th. But hear me out. If he took the money on the 29th in the late afternoon or evening, right, that might not show up on the bank information until the 30th, right? Because some of those ATMs wait, or they're trying to connect to the internet, especially if you're out in the middle of Colton Bay or whatever, Coulter Bay. It could have been that it was the 29th. Okay. It's crazy that we don't know a lot about this guy at this point. That not more people have come forward to say, yeah, I know this guy really well. I know what's going on. It's crazy to think that we don't know more. If this is the case, I hope they go to jail for a very long time, because regardless of accessory after the fact, I still don't think you're allowed to lie to police, right? Isn't that against the law? Not that I know of. Could you imagine being this guy's friend and like not wanting to be in the public eye? No, thanks. I would love to question this lady for sure. That's going to be a very interesting conversation when that comes out, and it will. He does seem like a little bit of a social pariah, a little bit of a social you know, a little bit of maybe socially, how do I say this nicely? Just not social. He just, if you look at the interaction with the police, he seems like, I don't know how to say this. Doesn't seem like a super friendly guy. Doesn't seem like he has a ton of really close friends. Plus, he reads books. So, just kidding. Just, it's a joke, everybody. Yep. Yes, this is what I was looking for. Sorry. I was going to say homeschooled. A joke. Yeah. Tony, you always have something good to say. Just want to give you props for that. And in this day and age when our circles are all digital. So yeah, that makes a little bit more sense too. Here's the thing about the Appalachian Trail too, is that if there is an article, I know there's an article that's surfacing that says that he survived for 6 weeks in the wilderness on cheese, crackers, and peanut butter. Imagine he has tons more to survive off. If he knows how to survive for 6 weeks, eating berries, fish, all that kind of stuff. If he knows how to do that, he could survive. If you can survive 6 weeks in the wilderness, you can survive 6 months in the wilderness. Okay. We are also in the fall. So it does probably get colder at night, but he probably has prepared for that. Again, if you survive for 6 weeks, you can survive for much longer. Not much. We're just discussing some stuff, some theories. This is why I'm thinking. I just don't think someone who understands how to be in the wilderness is going to go there. It would be 10 times harder to survive in the Carlton than it would be to like an Appalachian Trail or some, and again, he might not even be going somewhere. He might have gone somewhere and could be in the middle of the brush somewhere that they'll never find him. He could just be chilling by a campsite covered in trees and they'll never find him. You don't have to be always on the move. You could be camping at a place, stationary. You don't even need to build fires anymore with the technology that we have to cook food and things like that, MREs and all that kind of stuff. He literally could be hiding in a cave. He does not always necessarily have to be on the move. Yeah. What? Say what? Hello. Let's look it up. Can you send me that link if you got it? I want to come back to the socially awkward thing for a second. I am not an FBI, serial killer profiler or anything. I've seen some documentaries. But isn't it the case that most of these serial killers out there, or killers in general, are very much like this, except for a few notable cases who are very social, and that's how they kind of avoid it all. But aren't they really generally socially outcasted? Outcasted a word? Outcasted? I didn't get. There's nothing in my email about that. Oh, here we go. Oh, interesting. Is there a link for that? Interesting. Check this out. You can't really see it because this stupid thing doesn't blow up that way. But basically, they're saying is he at this store? That looks just like him to me. Why is he not wearing a mask? I was wanted, though, Like, honestly, if I was wanted, I'm wearing a mask. Okay? I'm wearing a mask. I haven't had a chance to look at this video yet. Sorry, Jamie. No, I haven't. And I almost don't want to, because knowing what we know and that he didn't know at the time is going to be really heartbreaking to watch. Does that make sense to you guys? I don't know. I will eventually. Yes, reminder. Smash the like button, algorithm hit, subscribe, please. Would really appreciate it. Again, we don't know a ton, Patrick, about him at all. And I'm so surprised by this point when Chris Watts was being looked at and all this stuff. There's articles, 15 things to know about Chris Watts. There's so much that came out about this guy. We know almost still nothing about Brian. He was a hermit. Yeah, what tattoos does Brian have? Does anybody know? Right. They don't, you're right. They don't require it mandated. But if you wear a mask, no one's going to say anything to you. It's not out of the ordinary. So if you're wanted, why would you not wear a mask everywhere? That gives you so much anonymity, if I'm saying that word right. Okay. I can't get that link. I can't highlight that link, Will. Stupid chat thing. Let me see if I can get it here. He's got a right hand tattoo. Okay. Is this true? I got to find that second link. I was in Florida. I wore a mask, and I saw lots of people wearing masks when I was there. You would not be noticed. If you're wearing a mask, though, even if you are noticed, you can't see it. If he's wearing a hat and a mask, you're not going to see it. I have a mask in here? Ooh, Chick-fil-A. Here we go. Check it out. You see me now, right? I want to show you guys something. Tell me you can tell who I am at a store. Sorry, you're not finding out who I am. Yeah, and got glasses on, maybe. He wears sunglasses. Here. You tell me this guy's going to be found if he's walking around like this. We live in an era right now where masks are totally normal. He could easily blend in, no problem. Just saying. Just saying. Not saying he's doing it. I'm just saying you could. Okay, I'll check. I'm checking my Twitter there. I'm not seeing any links. Oh, here we go. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Madison. I appreciate that. You guys need me to slow chat down a little bit more? I can do that. Sweating over here. Sweating. This is true. Hey, can I get some you got anything out and about here? Oh, yeah, you're definitely getting arrested right away. That's for sure. Hey there. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. That's why we got to keep talking about this, Kara. I don't care if I want every effing creator on YouTube to be talking about this. I don't care what people say. Oh, you're doing it for clout and views. Everybody should be talking about this until he's caught. I don't care. Everybody. I mean, James Charles could come on and be like, hey, cool, if you're talking about this case, cool. Yes. But I think, Spivey, we've talked about this a lot on this channel, is that it doesn't matter. If my kid came home and said I killed somebody, we're going to the police department. You're taking responsibility for your thing. Being a good parent means that you let your kid take responsibility. You do not hide their crimes. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't. Yeah. Everybody should do it. Sorry, I'm trying to slow this chat down for y'all. That's my American thing. Y'all. Every 5 minutes you can make a comment. We'll do something like that. Okay, so let's look at this article quickly. Norma Jean Jalovic told Fox News on Friday that she also gave Laundrie a ride on August 29th. Oh my gosh. It's getting crazy up in here. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's read it. A second woman has come forward to say she gave hitchhiking Brian Laundrie a ride in Grand Teton National Park, Wyoming, on 29th, 2 days after Gabby Petito was last seen. The first woman, Miranda Baker, said in videos posted on TikTok September 17, she and her boyfriend picked up Laundrie at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard after spotting him hitchhiking on the side of the road. She said she spoke to the police about the encounter. Norma Jean, by the way, Norma Jean is an amazing band. A seasonal Wyoming resident from Florida told Fox News Digital on Friday that after seeing Baker's TikTok video, she realized she had also picked up Laundrie on August 29th and dropped him off around 6:30 at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area, where Petito's remains were discovered weeks later. Jalovic said she spontaneously decided to visit a Catholic church called Chapel of the Sacred Heart in Grand Teton National Park. Okay, let's get the map open here for a second. Oh my goodness, this stuff's getting crazy right now. What was the name of the church? Sacred Heart in Grand Teton. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, I'm going to go back to that. Let's read this. Let's complete this article. Okay, so she picked him up around there. He was walking backward and holding out his thumb like so many do in the area of National Park. I picked him up, Jalovic said. Something just said, hey, ask him where he's going. Laundrie, who sat in the passenger seat of Jalovic's 4Runner, asked if she was going to asked if she was going to Jackson. What? When she told him no because she lives in the opposite direction, he asked her if she'd drop him off at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area, which she agreed to. Spread Creek is 20-minute drive from the dam. Everything's legitimate. Everything's corroborated. I already talked to the FBI, Jalovic said, adding that she didn't realize she had given a ride to Laundrie until after she saw Baker's TikTok and emphasized the important role social media has played. Baker similarly explained in her video that she realized it was a 23-year-old person of interest in Petito's missing persons case. Jalovic described having the same small talk with Laundrie that Baker reported in her TikTok. He told her that he spent time hiking near Snake River and they had a fiance. He told her he had seen elk and moose, but no bison. And when she asked him if he needed any gas money, he said no. She's a really nice lady. On the ride to Spread Creek, Jalovic said that she took a sharp right turn, causing a Bible on her dashboard to fall into Laundrie's lap. He then proceeded to catch on fire. That's not in this article. He picked up the book and put it back on the dashboard. The 23-year-old asked Jalovic to drop him off at the gate of the remote campground, which was a single dirt road that extends miles to various camping sites in the area at 6:30 p.m. 6:30 on August, where there had been still some daylight to see the camping area. Jalovic responded, saying she could drive him inside, which he tried to get out of the moving car. Guys, holy shit. Jalovic responded saying she could drive him inside, which is when he tried to get out of the moving car. I'm convinced, and I think we all are, she's likely by the van, in the van at this time. He gets out of the moving car. I can't explain why I was there. Jalovic said of their decision to go to the church in Grand Teton. It was something I don't typically do. I don't pick up hitchhikers in Florida. I've gotten so much S from my family and friends. Yeah, everybody, if this is a lesson in anything, stop picking up hitchhikers. Should be illegal. I think it's illegal where I live. Jalovic said she joked with Laundrie about wanting to impress his fiancée by hiking into the campground rather than hitching a ride. But he only responded by insisting that he be let out of the vehicle. So she's saying, oh yeah, you want to just pretend that you were hiking, right? And he's like, just let me out. And tried to get out of the moving vehicle. Petito, the deceased 22-year-old, and Laundrie were traveling together from New York. Okay, we know that. Okay, there's nothing else of note there. OMG. Yep. Get dog on the case. Check it. Hunting him down. Dog the Bounty Hunter reveals how he'd track down Brian Laundrie. He says the suicide is likely as feds hunt fiancé down. Dog Bounty Hunter has revealed how he would track him down. TV bail bondsman said investigators should start with family and friends before looking into his connection to the Florida Reserve Police. Thank you, Lori Nicole. Police are currently searching, okay? So he just said he'd talk to his friend. Dog, real name Dwayne Chapman, told Newsweek, we need to run his record. We need to see what his background is as far as domestic violence or anything else. Chapman said Laundrie isn't an experienced runner or criminal, and it's possible he's right there in his hometown. But he added that unaliving is completely a possibility. Sniffer dogs are also on the scene, so this article is basically okay. He added, I don't know how he got out of the house with the FBI and local cops watching him day and night. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Laundrie told neighbor Gary Coble. Laundrie's neighbor Gary Coble told WFLA, turn yourself in. They're hunting. They'll find you. Wednesday, divers with an undercover water recovery team were called to reserve. It comes as internet sleuths are peddling a wild conspiracy that Laundrie may be hiding on a boat to evade police. So this article doesn't really say what he would have done. Okay, that's weird. That sucks. Cool article. We don't know. I'm blown away, guys, that there's now another. Again, I believed Miranda from the beginning, from the hitchhiking theory, but he gets out, he goes over like he said and finds someone else, but he was at the church. Can we look at the map? Let's take a look at the map where she was. Okay. Watch this. Okay, so here's, oh my gosh. He gets out here, okay? This is so weird and interesting, okay? He gets out here and he says he's going to go look for a ride here, okay? But then starts walking north anyway, where he said he didn't want to go. Okay, he's down here. Like, he's way down here, people. Here's Chapel of the Sacred Heart Church. So the church is in there. It's a little country church. Can we go here? Can the little guy take us here? No, he can't. Can we go up there? Okay, so she pulls out of here. Brian is along this road somewhere, thumbing and hitchhiking, unless he's going this way, which I don't know, because it sounds like if he's already going north, it sounds like he'd stay north, right? So she picks him up here around this area, and she's like, no, I'm not going to Jackson, which he's trying to get to Jackson, which I think he's just confused about where he's going, right? Instead, she takes him over to Spread Creek. So she's like, no, I'm not going north. So she goes all the way back up here, or crosses here possibly. I don't know if that's a road that you can cross. Is this a dirt road? Possibly. Okay, takes him all the way over here, 20-minute drive over to Spread Creek. And lets him out at the entranceway to Spread Creek. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just a tiny chapel, and it's just fate that she was there. But this corroborates Miranda's story, corroborates that he had money, corroborates that he was hitchhiking with cash. I honestly think he's flown somewhere with extradition, with non-extradition treaties. That's what I believe. He had a lot of time to do it too. All right, here's a recap, Beth. Anybody who's joining now, make sure you hit subscribe and like this video. Here's the recap of what we know. The parents were escorted to see their lawyer. A lot of people were thinking they were escorted to go to be questioned by police, but if the police were going to do that, I think they would have put them in the vehicle. So they were asking for an escort because it's dangerous for them to be driving around right now. A lot of people out there looking for them. So they go see their lawyer. And then what we now know too is that, wait, what else do we know? Holy crap. He's not in Canada. We don't think, although it did look like him, not going to lie. There's been a lot of chatter about that he could be at the Appalachian Trail. We went over the TikTok of the girl that was in the restaurant when they were fighting. So we now found out that they were at the restaurant at 1 p.m., got kicked out, that he was fiery, he was angry, he was super pissed. And that was the day the RV drove by at 6:30 when the door closed on the van. So the timeline is lining up now that after they got into this huge argument, this massive fight, that they go back to the campsite where the RV then drove by 5.5 hours after they left this restaurant. Something was going on at that time between when they got back from the restaurant. What restaurant was it? Can someone confirm what restaurant it was? Oh, also, we brought up the idea that you're welcome, that we live in a world right now that if you're wearing the sunglasses, the mask, and a hat, no one's going to second look at you because everybody's wearing this. So he could be anywhere and hiding in plain sight with this. You don't know it's me, minus the massive biceps, right? You don't know. That's also what we said. Mary Piglets. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, interesting. Here we go. So between Mary Piglets, okay, it's an hour and a half drive, hour and 15 minutes to Spread Creek, okay? So they get out of this restaurant after, they're here. Let's take a look at I like to look at it. Where is it? I got to say that the name of Mary Piglets is the coolest name ever, by the way. Where is it? Here it is. They're in this restaurant here. Okay. Mexican cafe. And then they drive. So they get in a massive argument. Like, it's just crazy. The witnesses are going nuts. They're seeing it. Then they drive an hour and 15 minutes up to Spread Creek. So they're arguing all the way on this drive. They're just going crazy. He's going bananas. He's just freaking out. He gets back, and then stuff goes down. And that stuff goes down over here, around this area. Yes, you might not be wearing a mask, and that might be funny to you, but a lot of people are. Again, I'm just stating the fact that it's not uncommon to see people with masks. No one's going to ask you questions, right? She didn't see when she talked about this case too, when she said that they were fighting and she freaked out and she was telling it in her Instagram story way. Interesting enough, she didn't say what they were arguing about. She was definitely sure that was them, and she was like, oh, but there was never like, what were you arguing about? What were you saying? That's why I would love to restaurants to come forward and say what they were arguing about. What did you send me an email? I'm getting 150 emails a minute here. What the heck? Where's this? What the heck? Look at this. That looks like him, dudes. I mean, every guy that looks like him right now should just stay home. Just stop going out into public. Because there's a lot of guys that look like him, apparently. Oh, Savannah, thank you very much. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you. My brain just, because so much information goes in my brain. So she was going south. Sorry, she was going north after the church. She sees him at the dam. That makes more sense. Okay. What are his environmental commitments? I mean, I imagine the FBI has talked to the staff at the restaurant for sure. I mean, for sure. I agree with you, Margaret. I just don't think he's that. I know he's not. Look, I don't think people are giving this guy enough credit. They're like, he's dumb because he did it. He's literally eluded the police at this point for what, 4 days, 5 days? I don't think he's dumb at all, everybody. I think he's calculated. And that makes the stickers weird too. See, Aquamarine Blue, I don't think so. I think the deed was already finished at this point because this was the 29th. And he was likely hiding her there or near there. And he jumped out of a moving car so that she wouldn't drive him all the way to the vehicle. She's a really nice lady. She offered him money. So he's not convinced that she's not going to give him money. She's like, I'll take you there. He jumps out of a moving vehicle. That's super sketchy. Yeah. Everybody that looks like Brian Laundrie, please just stay home. Thank you. Public service announcement. Yes, but Heather, Melissa, we brought up the file that aiding and or what was it? Is it not aiding and abetting? It was the other one. That parents are exempt from that. What's the term I'm looking for? Accessory after the fact. Parents are exempt from it. In Florida, anyway. Like, it doesn't even matter what he did. The parents cannot be charged with accessory after the fact. Yes, let this be a lesson, please. Yep, he was on the road on the 30th. We know that based on the timeline, right? So he's on the 29th. He gets dropped off at 6:30 p.m. at the Spread Creek. Then he has over 3 days to get home, right? And he needs money, and he's pulling her money out, which flies in the face of us thinking his parents paid for his trip. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is the question, right? Jessica Bolts is asking the right question here. And we talked about this on one of the first videos. How in the F... Here, let me bring it up for you guys. How does he get from Spread Creek, right, to Coulter Bay Village on the 29th, and why? What was he doing? It's an 8-hour hike. It's 26 miles to get from Spread Creek if you're following these trails. It could be even quicker if you're cutting through, right? Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Yeah, slow chat is on at 1.5 minutes, everybody. It's crazy. Sorry. I don't know what's going on with the Facebook thing linked with the Insta. I don't think it really matters. Unless it proves that he's alive, right? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. Bless this Jess. This is a good point. If he's already hitchhiking, what's stopping him from continuing to hitchhike, right? I don't know, but what trips me out about this secondary hitchhiking lady is that what is near the van that he's so scared of someone seeing. And imagine it's 6:30 at night. What's sunset? And that was on August 29th, Wyoming. Sunset. Sorry. I wish this was faster. Sunset in Wyoming at 7:36 p.m. August 29th, 2021. Okay? He has 1 hour of sunlight. And don't forget that sunset is sunset, and then there's still remaining light till about 8 o'clock, depending what I do a lot of twilight shots for real estate. Sunset means I start taking twilights at about 15 minutes after sun has set. So there's still a ton of light. There's 2 hours of light. He doesn't want her driving to the vehicle because there's something to see in the light, right? There's still a lot of light there at 6:30 p.m. Not saying you're right, not saying you're wrong, saying that's what I'm thinking too. That's what I'm saying. What he's not driving the van because why? Because she's likely in the van. But it's so crazy to think the only reason he goes up to Coulter Bay Village. Yeah, we saw this earlier in the video. The only reason he goes up to Coulter Bay Village is to get money. I can't think of another reason he's going up there. And likely he did hitchhike. So likely there's another person out there that picked him up on the 29th earlier in the day. Could have been around 3 p.m. He probably happened. Okay, so think about this for a second. He does this on the 27th or 28th. He's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. He's making calls. He's making plans. He says, I'm going to hitchhike up to Coulter Bay. I need this money. That's the only place with an ATM near there, right? Within walking distance at least, or whatever. He gets the money, and then he's trying to peace out. Is my logic wrong about that? Why is my logic wrong? So, Jonathan Gray, let me hear let me hear your logic. Let's hear it. This true. This is also true. True. Let's hear your logic there, Jenny. I have gone over the warrant. He's basically under, a federal warrant for federal fraud over $1,000 and cross state lines. I highly doubt this, guys. Don't forget there are a lot of people out there who are professional trolls trying to start some stuff and will do whatever it takes. Anna Gomez, this is actually what you've just said here is really important because look at where he went. Again, let's go there. You're right. I mean, there are other options to get cleaned up if you think about it, but think about this for a second. He pops into here. To grab a shower because what's over here? Showers. But here's another fork in that road though. If he's got blood or whatever on him, he's not going to be hitchhiking, right? They're going to see that. The person that picked him up is going to see that. So I don't think it's about that. So let's take a look at where that is. Let me load it up here for a second. Can somebody send me the actual coordinates of where the body was found? Does anybody have that? Like the literal coordinates. Maybe I can Google it. Let the trolls troll. Troll's gonna troll. They gotta feed. Again, Ken, he might have gone this far, but you don't need to. Remember, you don't need to. Also, if you think about this for a second, she's 120 pounds, I think. And remember that black carry bag, like the travel bag they had on top of their van? That has straps, right? And it's a pretty heavy duty, thick material. I have one for my van, right? That stuff is made of, it's very strong. Let's just say that. If he puts her in there, easily grabs the straps of that thing and can drag it easily, and it won't break or anything like that. Sorry, I'm looking for the coordinates. If anybody has the coordinates, the absolute coordinates of where he was parked and the absolute coordinates of where she was found. I don't think he's at the ice cream shop. I think, though, at this point, because if we're thinking of the 29th and the 30th, her parents are going to start to be like, what's going on? He needs to come up with a plan relatively fast before her parents start cottoning on to what's going on. Okay, let's do this. Let's see if I can get this going in Google for you guys. Okay. Why did it give me Raphael? I don't know how to put Am I stupid? I don't know how to put coordinates in Google. Am I dumb? Okay. That doesn't make sense either. It keeps bringing me to this subtle sublet school district. I wish I was not dumb, guys. How do I put coordinates in Google? Really? Really? No. The black thing was not on top of the van when they went by. Where's my phone? Here, Google coordinates. I still don't know. I'm so dumb. I don't know. Okay. 43. Oh, comma. That's 110. 6. Here we go. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. I feel like a grandmother trying to use the internet. Where's directions? No, it keeps bringing me, when I put it in Google directions, it keeps bringing me to the Teton County School District. My brain hurts. I don't like it. It's stupid. Okay, got that. And then the body was. Okay. It's making more sense now. It's making more sense. Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm stupid. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here it is. Okay, I got it. Okay, it's right here is where she's found. Wait, let me get that tree. Like right here. So literally right across this. Here's the issue you're going to have with this. Here's where this gets a little crazy because this is a creek. Yes. This is what might make more sense too, because think about this. I don't think he did it at the van here. I think what happened was they went for a hike across the thing, or maybe she was running away from him or something. Okay. And he caught up to her over there, and then it went down and he just left her. That could be it too. Sorry that took me so long. Maybe. But again, I think a lot of people are underestimating him at this point. Yes, this has been brought up a couple times too, that they would have picked that up. So likely that makes more sense than that maybe she's running from him over here, and then, running. She's found over here. He does it over here. Could have been. Absolutely. It's a creek, Mason. It's not like really deep there at all. Like you can walk across that. Someone said you can look at photos. What's this? There's a way to look at photos. I don't know how, though. Okay. This makes sense. 90 pounds. She only weighed 90 pounds? This we don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know how she was found. I think if from what we're hearing, it looks like she was out in the open. I don't hate thinking about stuff like that. Not necessarily, because remember the fight on the 27th. No, I'm getting all confused now. When were they at their stupid restaurant? The 26th, they were at lunch. Oh my gosh, I'm confused again. I think it was the 27th that she said, right? Yeah, it's the 27th. That's what I thought. 27th. So the 26th doesn't make sense. And I honestly was with you on the 26th. I assumed it was 26th. 27th, 5 hours before the Bethune's flight. Yes. So they were at 1 p.m. at the Mary Piglet restaurant, getting kicked out, fighting, arguing. They have an hour, 15-minute drive back to this park here, back to the Spread Creek Road where they were parking right here. Okay. And then within a 3.5 hour window or 4 hour window, something goes down before that RV drives by. They wouldn't have declared this a homicide if that were the case. Possibly still a homicide. Maybe. This is okay. As far as the hitchhiking thing goes, this is the only thing that really makes sense to me, is that she was likely in the van. So why is he hitchhiking when he could have just taken the van? He came back and got the van anyway, unless he made a call. Hear me out. Unless he made a call when he was up at the showers, okay? And his call is to somebody like his parents or a lawyer, and the lawyer says, "You got to get that van out of there." That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Why hitchhike or hike up to the place? Why? The question remains, because unless she's in the van, I don't know, but like he's going all the way up to Coulter Bay Village. Why? This is interesting. Maybe he's hoping someone else to discover her and he could say, "Oh, I was hiking. It wasn't me. There's a murder that just happened a little close by." This could be a theory, right? It is a theory. So likely he's creating an alibi, hoping someone finds her, and he's not there. He's up at Coulter Bay Village, getting in the showers and all that kind of stuff. He needed the alibi. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Also think about the hitchhiking. Those are two alibis, right? Maybe he didn't want to. Maybe when he got back, he's like, "Oh, no one discovered her," and then he's like, "Okay, I'm just getting out of here." It's so confusing because we don't know what's gone through his head. We'll never know, likely. But just trying to piece that part together. Coulter Bay is a mystery to me, unless it's just alibi, money, or making a phone call, right? Maybe he didn't want to touch anything. Then when he got and made a phone call, someone said, "No, get that van out of there." On advice, perhaps. Yeah, he told the first Miranda girl that hitchhiked, "Oh, she's working on the vlog." Yeah, I mean, I think all of everything he was trying to do was fruitless anyway. Like maybe he thought, maybe in the end, or the phone call he made, or whatever the case may be, was that, look, you're out in the middle of nowhere. No one knows where you are, right? They're never going to find her. Come home. If they don't find her, you shut your mouth. You don't say a word. If they don't find her, you're off scot-free, right? If there's nobody, no crime. Everything starts going down crazily when the missing persons, and then people start showing up in the street. Then when her body's found, everything changes. Everything changes. Likely was told, look, no body, no crime. If you shut your mouth, you don't say a word. And that would have been true if they didn't find her. If we were still sitting here thinking that they were looking for her, he still would have been only a person of interest in a missing persons case with no body. Right? This is what gets me to Mel Gypsy. The stinking stickers. They mean something. And a lot of people are just like, it doesn't. And maybe they don't. But it perplexes me that he has time to get stickers and put stickers and multiple stickers. Who does that when they're running from a murder? I'm on WFLA News. There's nothing. Am I missing something? It's been debunked. The trail cam has been debunked. The necklaces don't mean anything. It's not him. Interesting theory. They fought. She's like, I'm done. Go for a hike. Get away from me. I need time alone. I want to chill. Maybe she broke up with him on the way home and said, look, we're done. I don't want to be a part of that anymore. You're flying off the handle. We're finished. She's like, when we get back, I'm going to have to like figure out how we can split off from here and go. Think about that. The immense scene that he created at the Mary Piglet. On the way home, maybe she's like, we're finished, right? And he panics. No, it's not him. Imagine this guy's already upset, right? He's already on edge, flying off the handle at a server at a restaurant publicly. Imagine not being able to hold your emotions in a public setting. Imagine what it's like privately. Okay. So on the way back, she's apologizing to I'm so sorry. She's like, look, we're not doing this anymore. We're finished. We're done. When we get back, we're packing up and we're taking off. He's already super angry. She likely may be yelling at him. They may be fighting. It might be just going crazy on this hour and 15-minute trip. He's plotting in his head when he gets back what he's doing. We don't know why he went to the town, likely to get money to make some phone calls, to maybe to shower. But we don't know if he hitchhiked or if he hiked. Because if he hitchhiked, then there's going to be someone that might come forward soon. And we know, Tawny, here too, that she was definitely abused. And so generally those types, isn't it? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it rare that an abuse victim says we're done, like, don't they generally stay with the abuser? I could be wrong about that. Yes, I think this is true. We don't know for certain. We do know that there's a lot of signs of reactive abuse, right? Is that the word I'm looking for? Reacted? Is that it? Where she's reacting to the abuse and his body language shows a lot. It's obviously not completely confirmed. She took the blame. We do know that, even though there was a police call made about an hour before of him hitting her. We have that call, and then she's taking the blame. No, I hit him. And we know that's a sign of a victim. We do know that. This makes sense. He's hoping someone would have found her. Oh no, what happened? And then, could have played it up. Although I don't think that would have worked anyway. It wouldn't have worked. I think he was just grasping at straws, trying to figure out what to do. Didn't want to touch the van, likely because something went down near or in it or whatever. Okay. Went up to make a call. I can only assume he went to make a call, right? Yeah. And I don't know if we're ever going to know this. I don't know if we will. He had to get cash. And remember, they said that it was on the 30th that they said he pulled money out. They didn't tell us where, but they'll be able to know if it was at that stop up at Coulter Bay, right? And if it was on the 29th midday after 5 p.m. where he pulled this cash out, because remember, he was hitchhiking at 6:30. Likely that wouldn't register from the ATM until the next day. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I doubt it. I'm sure they would have pulled those stickers off right away. Well, does anybody know about this industry? Why does it take, especially in the case of this seriousness of person that's on the run, why does it take 2 weeks to do an autopsy? Like, I feel like they should know. Most of them will know instantly, like 5 minutes after seeing, right? It sounds like that's what they did. They made the decision right after the first look. Oh yeah, this is definitely homicide. So what is it? Is it toxicology reports? Is it all that kind of stuff that they're waiting to hear back from? Possibly. Okay. Yeah. Where did that go? This is important, everybody. Because this case is so nationally followed at this moment, they have to walk as if they're going to find him and they're going to prosecute him. And they're trying to make sure there's nothing that gets in the way that could be thrown out for whatever reason they did something wrong or whatever the case may be. They are doing this textbook because everybody is watching them. Everybody is. Does anybody know how much shit got thrown out of court from the O.J. Simpson trial because of things that were done improperly? I don't really know. I was really young when it went down and I didn't really follow it. But again, I just honestly believe they're being super hyper protective of everything because they want to make sure they don't miss anything. Okay, 2 weeks for toxicology. I think when this comes to light, what's going to come to light is how he evaded, because he was being surveilled. How did he evade that? That to me has always been the major question. Even at that point, it doesn't really stop much, just captures him faster. But I've also heard reports of the police officer from the August 12th body cam. A lot of those police officers are feeling like guilty. Now, I can't follow that up and someone has a thing, but I feel like they are like, oh my gosh, if we just did what we were supposed to do, that might not have happened. He was home. We have established that he was home. The neighbor did see him and his dad packing the camper, the little RV thing for the back of the truck. He was home. Yeah, they do. Oops. I don't see this being the case, Jessica, because he went to Coulter Bay, which wouldn't have that type of materials, I don't think. And I don't think poisoning is as easy as you guys think it is. I don't know. I'm just saying. Here's why the parents don't say anything. Because they're bad parents. And they're not letting him be held accountable for his actions. Or he told them a story that said, look, I didn't do it, but it looks like I did. What do I do? And they're like, okay, well, if you didn't, we believe you. And here's how we can mitigate this disaster. Interesting. Yep. What? Get out of here. Who comes in the chat to say something like this? So stupid. This I agree with. We did. We went over this, Pamela. We went over the fact where she picked him up at the church and that he got out of the moving vehicle. She offered to drive him right to the van. And as she was saying that, he's like literally opening the door while she's driving. So she thought it was a little bit sketch. So the warrant is just there. Have a warrant out for his arrest for fraud over $1,000, which is federal. It looks like he used her credit card and her debit card to take money. So that's what they're using to kind of go after him. Yep. We don't know if this is confirmed or not. Could have been a hack account. Could have been anything. I don't think he's that dumb. And if he is, well, maybe let's hope he's that dumb. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and the like button, please. Mm-hmm. What am I looking for, Will? I don't see anything. Oh, here we go.
All of that could lead to answering this very question, where he's at.
If his parents are home right now, it's not a crime scene, but can the FBI monitor their phones? I mean, what if he tries calling them or something?
Yeah.
I know there's secret stuff you can't necessarily say, but they can,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. His phone can be monitored. Their phones can be monitored.
The phones can be monitored, she's saying.
Let me see here.
Takes a warrant.
Yeah.
Showing probable cause, but you betcha.
I'm just going to ask you a couple more here. Let me just get a few more. A lot of these you've already answered, so I'm just trying to get.
I have a question.
Okay, Luis has a question.
Have you seen any of the deer cams that they think it's him? Do you think there's anything to those?
I have seen those, and quite frankly, it is such poor quality.
Yeah.
I think it would be difficult to believe unequivocally that can. But it's possible. Every lead should be followed.
Does that? I've wondered this. There's so many tips coming in. I mean, from all over. Does the FBI really have the resources to go through all these tips?
Yes, they're going to be gone through. There will be agents from the entire field offices throughout the United States. The states are also helping out, and the locals.
Yeah,
So
there's
they
got a
have
lot
the
of people on this
manpower to
case.
Follow up on these tips. It's just going to take time, but believe me, they're getting them, and it's blitzkrieg. They're getting out there, getting answers to these tips.
So I was out at the reserve the last couple of days. It's miserable. It's like a swamp. It's awful. You would never go there to hang out at this time of year. And I feel bad for the officers because there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of resources, and they've been.
He's
out there
not
for
there,
days.
man.
They announced today they're going to go back.
He's
tomorrow.
not there.
Do you think they know something we don't know to put that amount of resources into this?
I think it would be remiss of them not.
The
to
second lady's
follow
name
up
was
with the
Norma
steps that
Jean,
they have
which is
to
an amazing band.
follow up.
Okay.
And I also believe that there must have been outside corroboration beyond Brian telling the parents and parents telling
Really?
law enforcement. I really do think
She
must
thinks
be
there's outside.
corroboration for them to extend this type of manpower.
Really?
Okay, let me see. When we find out. Okay, Don.
No, he did not.
Be liable in any way? Can they be charged?
I have a picture of Piper Raquel as your
that
picture.
They set up this search. Could they be, charged for the resources of the search?
Yeah, they knew that he wasn't there.
I have not in my years have I ever seen family gone after, except for criminally.
Okay.
Criminally, yes.
But not financially. Was your question financially? Okay. You guys okay?
Sorry if I'm missing you guys super
Not
chats.
that
A
it
lot of
couldn't
times I'm
happen,
looking on the screens. I can't see the chat. It's really fast.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for Jennifer? She's a former FBI agent about the case.
We do have a lot of locals here, so I'm just wondering, if they want
You-
to ask them.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying? Can you just come a little closer so my live feed picks you up with your question? Yeah.
We do have a lot of locals here, and we hang out in those types of areas with, it's swampy, it's
Yep.
muddy, and we know how to ride in them. And we know
Sorry
what
if the
to
picture's
do.
blurry, guys. I
You know,
can't
so
do
if
anything
they
about
needed
that.
help and wanted our equipment, do they want to ask?
I would say that they have local law enforcement officers that are in much the same situation.
Especially if you had her,
With the reserve
pins and everything
have
else.
Gone out there themselves, and that's probably who they were relying on to make sure that they know about the trail, that they can properly maneuver getting through where they need to look.
Yeah.
They're not-
They
they're not-
need help. They want equipment. We've got.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice to say that. Yeah. Have you seen trail cameras out there? No, you haven't seen any.
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'll just ask you,
Em, I have to start talking over or I will get copyright striked.
You just let a few. Is it?
I can't see the whole chat. I'm trying to read all my super chats. Sorry, guys. I can't. It's going so
Would
fast.
he be able to leave the country without the FBI knowing?
He could, if he has good enough identification that can get through airport security, absolutely.
The lady talking is an
Provide fake
ex-FBI agent.
documents, and good fake documents are hard to glean. But I will say, I guarantee that all those law enforcement officials, they are closely watching for him.
And this is one last one. This was an interesting one. Can they do a polygraph on the parents?
No, they
So-
cannot do a polygraph.
They can ask
They can ask.
for the parents to do a polygraph, but they are under no obligation to do any polygraph examination. And again, that's an investigative tool. It's not evidentiary, only a tool.
And just before we lose you tonight, is there anything else you want people to know? Is there anything you don't think people are talking about or thinking about?
Can you guys
want to
hear
get
that?
out there?
I do want to get this out here. Law enforcement is working tirelessly on this case. They are up, some of them probably getting little to no sleep. They are as committed to finding Brian Laundrie and
Mhm.
having closure to this case than anyone. They're vested and they're doing their best. There is so much going on behind the scenes and so many leads being followed that people have no
Because
idea.
this guy doing
what
the
is
interview is
happening
not putting
until
his
it's
phone closer to her so he
So
can
I
hear her. He
would
doesn't
say
know how to do this.
Keep your faith in law enforcement because they are doing all these things we're talking about.
And I had to squeeze one more in because everyone's
Yeah.
asking this, and I've wondered. You know what Spotify is? It's that service where you can have your songs. People are really into digging into Brian Laundrie's Spotify account. There are some strange songs he listened to. Can that be used as evidence, or is that just sort of something that people are interested in?
Oh no, it can be used as evidence. All of that are little bitty clues that when you put them all together can lead to
Yes.
what he was doing, where he was at, where the Spotify was used. I am quite certain there is a subpoena for Spotify.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
All right.
You were amazing tonight. Thank you.
Let's talk about the 27th Stan text. Okay, now I've heard a lot about this. Let me see if I can find it. Missing 22-year-old Gabby Petito sent an odd final text message to her mother on August 27th. We initially assumed that August 27th might have been legit, might not have been legit for the text message, okay? The text message was, let me get it for you guys. Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls. Petito's final text reads, according to Northport, Florida. A lot of people are saying Stan is, what does it say? What's the acronym for Stan again? Send. What is it again? It doesn't say that it was. It said, can you help Stan? It looks like it was written very, very well, actually. Send the authorities now, right? Is what it is. So here's the thing. This might make sense if she felt like possibly she was being threatened, or he was pacing, or he was doing something and she had the opportunity to send a text, right? But it's too coincidental, in my opinion, that his name is actually Stan. Do we know that he was actually calling and leaving voicemails and all that stuff? That's an important question here. But if she's actually scared for her life at this point, why isn't she just saying, Brian's freaking out, send help now? Why create this? Why make it so cryptic? His name is Stan, yes. So I feel like it's pretty far-fetched. And at the point, if she's that scared for her life, why is she sending a text? And not just saying, dude, this guy's freaking out, send police. This is what people think. If she's looking at her phone while she's texting her mom because they're fighting, he's like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Maybe they're in a big heated argument and she writes that. But the mother doesn't say that unless they have that code. If someone were to send me that, I wouldn't assume that. I didn't think that Stan meant that. I don't think anybody knows that until now. So I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that that's a thing. And that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I've never heard this. Yeah, but I mean, possibly. But unless her mother knew that that was an acronym that they shared for an emergency, then I don't think so. And the mom, that probably would have been public already. I know that she sent in this text. I know that because this is our code that we use for when she's in danger, and she sent me that thing. So I think that would have come out already, in as far as I know, as far as I think. Is it only a rumor? This is likely the scenario that we're looking at. And here we go with Occam's razor, everybody. The most likely scenario is likely the truth. He was just probably trying to say, oh, just send it. because maybe the grandfather wouldn't stop calling or whatever the case may be, and he said that and doesn't know that he doesn't call. He likely calls her grandfather Stan because, you know, I didn't call my wife or my girlfriend, my fiance's parents by grandparents. I would call them by their first name. That's likely. Occam's razor says that that's most likely what happened. He just slipped up because he probably calls him Stan. Okay. This is a great question, Southpaw. If this actually went down on the 27th, which is why we don't know, could have been any time after 1 p.m. on the 27th, this could have gone down. Could have gone down that day, could have gone down the next day, could have even gone down the next day on the 29th before he hikes up to Coulter Bay. So we don't know. We just assume. What are we? Are you reaching that? We're saying we're reaching for the Stan argument. Is that what you're saying? Because I do think that's a reach as well. Big time. It's a coincidence, and it's Occam's razor. Her grandfather's name is Stan. He says, tell Stan whatever. It's he texted that thing. We'll know if they do release. They'll know. They'll be able to come to a different thing. Again, this is a huge reach. This is not it. I'm sorry. These two people are not old enough to have been around when that song was pretty popular, to be honest with you. They don't know the story of that song, not as far as I know. Likely don't listen to Eminem, so I don't think this means anything. That's a way out far, and that's my opinion, just a super far out theory. Like, I don't think those kids were born when that song came out. Let's take a look. That song was written in 2000. So those like Brian and her were toddlers. It depends, I think, but they're pretty good with that type of stuff when it comes to decay and everything else, because they found her 3 weeks general. I mean, they already have a window, right? They know that it's any time after the 27th after 1 p.m. So knowing that they have that start period from the last time she was seen, they can likely then get it down to a few hours, I think. I don't know why I think he's in Wisconsin. Who would want to go to Wisconsin? Even if you're wanted for murder, you don't go to Wisconsin. Yes, very true, Goose. Very true. The Yosemite text again. I think there's people looking into some cryptic stuff that doesn't make any sense. We have to. A lot of these cases sometimes will come down to like some of the craziest theories that actually, in the end, don't really mean anything. Even if they did mean something, they don't mean anything. Does that make sense? Like they're questions people want answered, but in the end, does it actually affect the timeline or what happened? I think they think 25th was the last time. They have good cheese, though, I've heard. And lovely people. Okay. I really hope so, Caitlin. Right, but when we come to these types of things, when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, guys, you have to understand that this case right now is one of the most talked about public things going on in the world, in pop culture and news and everything. It is really actually easy to hack these types of accounts and do things to get people to talk about this, because in the end, if this is true, right, all it proves is that he's alive, which we already kind of know. But in the end, it doesn't really, it's not, I think people read way too far into some stuff. But that's just, I just think that it's overcomplicating something. But when there's a case of this magnitude, there's going to be trolls and professional crappers that want to get to just cause scenes, and they will do stuff like that. He did it intentionally. That's my gut. The fight is too much of a coincidence to be an accident. And even if it was accidental, was it accidental because they were really fighting? And is that really an accident if you kill somebody? So my gut says he did it. I don't know if it's first degree, but yeah. I don't know. Yes. Okay, 5 hours. Okay. Yes. Exactly. Could it be an accidental homicide? If that were the case, would they have labeled it such? Right? I do think homicide says everything that we need to know. Annie, I've been through this footage 1 million times, and there is nobody walking next to the road before the van door opens. There, that shadow that we thought, or the digging thing, we looked, it is not a thing. It is not. And even if that's the case, why is the van door closing? I think this guy, again, I said this at the beginning of the video, I think he's like long gone into a country with no extradition. His parents seem to be smart enough to understand how to not talk. They understand what they can say and not say. They've been silent so far. You don't think that they're smart enough to say, okay, here are the countries you can go where there's no extradition. Bye. I think that's very, very plausible. I think it's passion because the fight, the heated argument, everything that was going on at the restaurant at 1 p.m. Yep. I honestly don't think they will. They know the cause now. They do. They don't have the full talks and all that kind of stuff, but they know the cost. And if they haven't released it now, I think they're doing that specifically because they don't want to tell anybody. They don't want to give anybody any advantages. You think so, T. Adams? We went over this at the beginning. There's no way. There's no way he's in Canada. Okay. I don't know. Maybe he's just like, stop calling. Maybe she sent him a text message. I don't know. I don't know if this matters very much. It's just, it is weird, though. I do agree with you. It is weird. That makes sense. Interesting. I think I mean, okay. I mean, what's the definition of homicide? So homicide is an act of a human killing another person. A homicide requires only a volatile act that causes the death of another. Doesn't say accidental or not. It can refer to a non-criminal act as the criminal act of murder. Some homicides are considered justifiable, such as the killing of a person to prevent the commission of a serious felony or to aid a representative of the law. Other homicides are said to be excusable, as when a person kills in self-defense. A criminal homicide is one that is not regarded by the applicable criminal code as justifiable or excusable. So yeah, it's very, very wide, that term. We assume homicide is murder because we watch too many damn television shows. Yes, this is true, Kaspar. New girlfriend. What's this? Where is this coming from? I mean, what are the odds of this? Like, yeah, you'd have to really, 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 really do something. Like, humans are pretty resilient people. Hitting someone is rarely going to cause death. I mean, Jake Paul got demolished and he just got back up. Hey, Calista. Okay. What? Where did you come? When someone, Trinity, do me a favor. When you drop this comment, where did you hear that? I'm not saying it's not true, but where do people, like, where is there like some website where all this stuff exists? Well, if you hit her with a rock, that's murder. That's not an accidental, push or hit. True. Where are you guys hearing this? This is what a lot of people are assuming. This is what people are thinking. The psychics need to stop with that stuff. That stuff is totally not real. I don't believe in that. Not for an instant. Okay. Yeah, we went through this, Tracy, at the beginning. The lady was at a church. She was driving north from the church up towards the Jackson Dam where he was. She picked him up and dropped him off really close to where he was. And she's like, I can drive you to car. And then he got out. It was crazy. I hope so, because if you're summoned before a grand jury and you don't answer questions, you can be held in contempt, and then you can be put in jail until you answer those questions. Am I right about that? Ryan, we went over this. It's not plausible according to Occam's razor, because her grandfather's name was actually Stan. And unless the mom and the daughter had an agreement or something before that said, here's a code if you're ever in trouble, it doesn't add up. But I mean, it doesn't really matter if it adds up or not, too. So it's not a big deal. Oh, where'd that go? That was a good comment. Sarah Beth, you say something important here. The Appalachian Trail is not as secluded as it may seem. Lots of day hikers and trail support. Yeah, my thing is that maybe I don't think that he's on the move. I think he's camped somewhere. So off a trail, off a beaten path that he can get back to quickly through a north-facing direction. He could be literally under brush, just camping in a very dense area of the woods. But, where most hikers wouldn't just go, right? If you're in an unpathed area, easily be able to hide out. I don't think he's on a move. I think he's camped out. That's what I believe. You don't need to start fires anymore. There's technology that's it's so easy to live now without being found. We know he has solar panels that connect to that thing. We know he has power because we saw that little, I have the exact same tool he has. It's a little box, has 2 plugs on it, USBs, and you plug there's these 2 foldable solar panels that can fit in your backpack. You fill them out, and you can have power for as long as you want it. And it's really easy to set up. That's if he's here, which I think he's not. This makes more sense than hiding in the Everglades with the alligators and crocodiles biting your ass. Possibly, but remember when the neighbor said they took off, they filled their camper full of stuff. And someone also has said that he survived 6 weeks on peanut butter and cheese crackers. So if he's got more than peanut butter and cheese crackers, and he already survived for 6 weeks, you can easily survive for longer. He's thin as a rail. Probably doesn't eat very much to begin with. If they live together, yeah, I bet they know. So I don't see that. I don't see that Instagram. Sorry, guys. They're still there. Is he vegan? He's even easier to survive there. He's eating trees and grass and shit. If you're already used to it. No, and the ex-FBI said that they can be asked to take a test, but they would likely refuse. If they're not going to answer questions, they're not going to take a lie detector, and they can't be compelled to unless the court says they have to. Yeah, we've been asking this question forever. How did he evade the surveillance? And I bet you they don't want to tell anybody that they were even surveilling him, because then they'd have to admit that he got away. Interesting. I don't get it. He won't drink water from a plastic bottle. Is that not vegan? I don't know. I'm not a vegan, obviously. I ate Chick-fil-A like an hour ago. Okay. Yeah, Will, I'm gonna send you the link. I want to get Will on because I'm almost done here. I want to bring Will on. He's got a couple ideas and he has an interview with somebody, and I want you guys to hear it or just talk about it a little bit. Let's go here. Where's Crystal Springs? Okay. Let's bring Will on. Hey, Will, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Josh?
You hear me fine? Everybody here, Will, fine? All right. Well, I'm just going to bring this up here real quick. Someone just sent a bunch of helicopters over Crystal Springs right now.
I've got an echo.
Oh, you do? Shouldn't my head? My
that's
volume's
why.
off.
Hold on, my fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Okay,
Good?
should be good now. It's my fault.
So AJF 5514 says copters and heavy police covering on Crystal Springs going right now. If we look at where Northport is here, this is Crystal Springs. This makes more sense to me as far as I'm concerned. Think about this for a second. He's way up here in Crystal Springs. Look at the dense forest. This is a preserve. Is that going to have alligators and stuff in it? Likely, but doesn't look like there's a lot of swamp. Looks like a lot of ground you can cover and camp out under. So this is kind of where they are. Apparently, not saying this is what AJF says. So Glare, talk to me. Will, you guys don't know who Will is. He's from the Glare, the channel. Mods, can you throw up his link in there so you guys can go? He's going to do it. You're going to go live after this, Will?
Probably not tonight because it's getting pretty late. I might. I don't know. I'm kind of hopped up on coffee, so I might. But I'll definitely go on tomorrow for sure. Yeah.
So Will, tell me about. Okay, so Will and I had a conversation today. Tell me about this guy that you interviewed. Tell me what. Tell me about this guy.
Oh, this was a couple years ago. His name is Colton Harris Moore. He was known in the press as the Barefoot Bandit. Mm-hmm. And he, and this was back in 2010 that he finally got caught, but he eluded the FBI successfully for about 2.5 years, from the age of 17 to 19.
Okay.
And, he stole 5 airplanes. Eventually he taught himself how to fly. Never had one flying lesson, nothing. And he was caught on a boat that he stole in, there you go. Yeah, there's Colton. He was caught on a boat in the Bahamas because he flew to the Bahamas in a Cessna that he stole. And
wow.
Yeah. even after all this time, it still amazes me to even think about him and talk about him.
Okay.
But what he did was, I mean, he basically, and he didn't kill anybody or anything. He was just wanted for theft.
Okay.
And the difference between him and this guy is he was actually being cheered on by social media. He was being thought of as like a Robin Hood. Now, Colton hates being remembered for this. He can't stand it.
Okay.
Because he's a really good guy and he just kind of did it just to do it. And he can't stand being remembered for this. He wants to build a reputation now. He's kind of off the grid all over again. Second phone number I have for him doesn't work anymore. So I actually tried to get a hold of him to see if I could get his opinion on what this guy is doing and what his chances are. But you got to remember, Colton was, now it's different terrain, a different area, because he was up in the Washington area, in the Seattle, Washington area, right? And he's 6 foot. He was 6'5" at the time. He's still 6'5", but he was 6'5" at the time. And I mean, he hid in trees. He kept breaking into people's houses. He would like, that's how he would survive. He'd break into somebody's house, eat their food, cook their food in their kitchen.
Wow.
And then like clean up after himself because he's a nice guy. Yeah, really, really interesting person. And brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like the first conversation I had with him on my channel was about 3 hours long, and most of it was just his opinions on.
Okay,
on
I guess I'm there.
finances.
How did you get this guy? Like, I love you, Will. How did you connect with this guy?
Mind blowing. So someone suggested his story to me, and I was just going to cover his story for content. Yep. Which I did. I did like a 3-part thing on him. And I was a real rookie YouTuber at the time too. And I cover this thing, and then somebody tells me that he has a YouTube channel, and he did have a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel consisted of just a few videos of just watching planes take off, because he's obsessed with aviation.
Right.
And so I left a comment on one of his videos, and he emailed me, and then we ended up talking on the phone for hours. And we just had a connect, and then and it was amazing because this guy does not talk to the press. He never did any interviews with anybody. So it was absolutely exclusive. And I just refused to treat it like an interview because I genuinely liked the guy. Okay. So that's why that video is called A Conversation with Colton Harris Moore. I just refused to call it an interview because I didn't want to treat it like that. And B, because I'm not a professional, I'm not a journalist, you know what I mean? I just felt lucky to be able to talk to the guy.
Yeah. So let's draw some parallels. So I feel like we should do this, talk about this, because it sounds really interesting. But let's draw some parallels. So he survived. Basically, how? Like, how did he hide? And what are the comparisons and parallels we can draw between him and Brian? I don't think Brian is smart, but at the same time, a lot of people who are socially awkward tend to be like very smart. One of the things I've taken away from a podcast I listened to a while ago, or a TED Talk or something, where it's that people who are actually pretty brilliant actually have the worst time being humans, right? So they're very hard to make friends with.
I would say that it's fair to say Colton is somewhat socially awkward, at least. I would say that's fair to say. Okay. He thinks about things that most people don't think about. And he loves to talk about these things too. Like if you go back and watch those videos, I did like 3 or 4 different videos with him. And most of the stuff we talked about, the later videos that he was on, the stuff that we talked about was where the country's going as far as the economy, as far as the government, as far as COVID and things of that nature. And like I said, he's brilliant. And he has very, very abstract ideas. But as far as eluding the FBI, I believe he's just that much smarter than most people, that he was always one step ahead. Okay. I think in even one occasion.
Did he say that he was watching social media? Was he tracking through that too?
Well, this was back in 2010, so social media wasn't what it is now. Okay. But he taunted law enforcement. He stole a camera from somebody's house and took a picture of himself and posted it.
I need to talk to this guy.
While he was in the woods. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like he had fun with it. This guy's story is so interesting that when he was caught, this is the kind of guy he is. I love this guy. When he was caught, he while he was in prison, he negotiated I believe it was a $1.3 million deal with 20th Century Fox.
Sold his rights to the story.
Right. And he did it just so that he could give restitution to his victims that he stole from.
Okay.
So now, of course, Jenny Durkin, who is now the mayor, but was the DA back then of Seattle, she of course uses the story and goes and says, we are not going to allow him to profit off of this, blah, 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 because the Son of Sam's law was already in place. He used the fact that the Son of Sam law was in place in order to do this, consciously knowing that he could give restitution to his victims.
But the Son of Sam law says that you can't profit off crime.
Right. Because Son of Sam, the notorious serial killer, tried to write a book and tried to profit off of it. Now, the whole thing with that movie, it hasn't been made yet. I don't know if it's ever going to be made, but the script was written by the same script writer who wrote the biopic for Harvey Milk, which he won an Oscar for. And Robert Zemeckis was supposed to be signed on to direct it. Okay. And if those of you who don't know who Robert Zemeckis is, he's the mind behind the Back to the Future trilogy. So that's it's incredible. But he doesn't even want the movie to be made. He's like, I just wanted to make the deal so that I could pay back my victims. But as far as now, his whole thing right now is that he just wants to be able to fly, but because he's a felon and because he stole planes, he can't legally get an aviation license, right? He can't be approved by the FAA. Now, I'm hoping, because the reason why I wanted to contact him as a friend, because I was hoping that maybe he could work out a deal and consult with the FBI and say, hey, I can consult and tell you what this guy's doing and what the best way to probably try to catch this guy, if you let me fly, because that's all he wants to do in life. But he's also very, very ambitious, and he's very a no excuse making type of person. He's incredible in that way. So he's just like, whatever, I'm gonna make money because I love making money, and I'm going to fly even if I have to leave the country. I'm going to fly, one way or the other, I'm going to fly again. So that's his attitude, which I love and I respect very, very much. But the fundamental differences between Colton and Brian is that Brian is the most hated man in the country right now. Yep. Nobody's gonna help this guy. Now there's a $20,000 reward out for him, whereas Colton actually had people rooting for him and cheering for him, and yes, even though social media wasn't what it is today, he had all of the support of social media, not people trashing him.
Yeah, I want to get to this like another time because it's really interesting. But how long did Colton evade capture?
And Colton didn't kill anybody too. Good
exactly.
Point, Kelly Ellie.
Good point.
He was at large for 2.5 years as far as the FBI searching for him.
Holy smoke. So imagine, and I'm not saying that, Colton seems like a really smart dude. Brian, again, and I've said this before in this chat, if he can survive for 6 weeks on peanut butter and crackers, you can also survive for 6 months. Sure. I mean, at some point past 3 days, you're good to go if you're good, right? I wouldn't survive 24 hours in the forest with mosquitoes biting my nutsack. I would be done, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna turn myself in. I'm done with bugs. So I'm just saying, I just wanted to bring that on. I wanted to bring Will on because I know that he had this story, and I think maybe this is something we should talk about because you seem to know a lot more, and that's a really interesting story. And it seems like I'm going to be doing more real crime on here because this is interesting to
I
me.
love that you call it real crime
or whatever you call it.
No, yeah, you're doing amazing at it for somebody who never does it. You're doing great. Like everybody in my Discord is just totally loving it. But one thing that I want to say regarding this case is, in my experience of following true crime cases, in my experience, you have to understand that everything that law enforcement does is prelude to a potential trial.
Yes.
So So when people are going, oh, law enforcement dropped the ball, they didn't do this, didn't do that, they're playing a game of chess, especially if the if the FBI is involved. Because if the FBI is involved right now, they're at risk of looking really bad. Fox News is tearing them apart right now.
Yep.
So they're not going to want to look bad to the public. So they are doing their job. I promise you that. But it takes time to collect evidence. So everything that they do is not leading to an arrest as people think. It's leading to a trial. And once they have collected enough evidence to where they think they can convict him in a trial is when they start worrying about making an arrest. But I assure you that his whereabouts are something that's very important to law enforcement right now too. I'm not saying that it's not. So we have to think on those terms. If we think on those terms as far as like what's going to happen when a trial comes, well, then it's going to be a lot easier to narrow down and try to understand more or less what's going on in the mind of law enforcement when it comes to catching Brian Laundrie.
Yep. And okay, so update on Crystal Springs as far as Twitter is concerned. There is a ton of people saying massive search in Crystal Springs right now.
Wow.
Like, it's blowing up a little bit. If you type in Brian, it's like, yeah, they're saying something's going on. Something's up in Crystal Springs for sure. Let me see. Latest. Yeah, just a bunch of people just saying something's going on over there. Isn't that crazy though? In real time, we're on this chat. People right now in real time are like following this case and every avenue that someone's putting out. Somebody's up in Crystal Springs right now tweeting there's a huge police hunt going on. That hits, and we're hearing it right now. I'm in Toronto, and we're hearing this. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy what the internet has done. Maybe the conversation after this whole case is done is the conversation that we can finally have. Don't F with Cats, all these documentaries, is that the internet is actually the game changer as far as it comes to these types of things.
Totally.
And the other conversation to say, with everybody mentioning that POCs, people of color, are not getting the and I agree with that, is to say, why don't we just have this community? You don't agree? Well, that's fine. And we can chat about that. But why don't we? I think that this has been an incredible, and I think that police and FBI and everybody else would say that they wouldn't change a thing about it either.
Yeah. I mean, well, as far as the whole, what is it? Missing white girl syndrome. That's well, I mean, if you follow true crime, you'll just know that that's not true. There's Gabriel Fernandez. There's the West Boys. There's Maya Milan from Chula Vista. I mean, the list goes on and on. So it's not like people of color are being completely ignored. So, I mean, that's just somebody jumping on this and trying to feed their narrative. And I'm not saying racism isn't an issue in this country. It absolutely is an issue in this country. It's an issue all over the place. But as far as that term being made, it's just something to bring more attention to that particular issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
my opinion.
And you know what? I would not even blame people to use this platform, especially if you have a missing child. I would do whatever it takes as well. And
Absolutely.
At the same time, I think this case is just a little bit separated, but I will disagree with you. And I do think that I'm from Canada. We got over 5,000 kids in unmarked graves and missing Indigenous women all over the country. Like, it's insane. And they don't care. But all that to say, is that, where was I going with that? Dang it. It's that, again, I would use the platform where I can do it. But this case is a little different because of the situation of it. Now, if any of those cases were similar, that the dude that person was with drove across the country with their own vehicle, like, you got to understand that the parameters of this case are way different than anything we've ever seen. And that's why it's gone as viral as it's gone.
Yeah, I'm the first guy. I'm the first guy that criticizes other YouTubers for jumping to conclusions and saying, I'm the innocent until proven guilty guy almost all the time. But when you look at all the circumstances of this case, like, no, he's guilty. He did it. You don't lawyer up like he did as soon as, you don't lawyer up like that and shut down and then disappear and go on the run, Now, one thing you were saying about you don't think that they're looking in the right place. I tend to agree with you on that. Now, I mean, they're looking there's all this activity in Florida still, right? In the Crystal Springs, is that in Florida? I'm not familiar with that.
Yes, it is.
Okay. But
it's
now,
like, let me just tell you real quick. Sorry. 1 hour and 32 minutes from Northport.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
See, and it makes sense that he would stay close to home. But one thing that I do believe that his parents filing a missing persons report and reportedly saying that he could be a danger to himself, what that does is that puts a priority on the search. Because in Florida, there's something called a Baker Act, right? Now, the Baker Act, what that does is it's basically all hands on deck as far as law enforcement, because that person is a danger to themselves or others. They're deemed a danger to themselves or others. So that's why there would be that much manpower in searching for a missing person. Now, I think that was a strategy on his parents' part in order to misdirect. Now, before the Crystal Springs thing that just happened, I figured that he was gone the other way, and they were all searching over there because they were, like I said, it was an attempt of misdirection on the parents.
And let's be real, the Crystal Spring thing is just, they could be hunting for somebody else. It's chatter. I call it chatter, meaning that we're just monitoring everything in this chat to say could be, could not be. We don't know. It's not confirmed, but if I've seen a bunch of Twitter about it, so. But people tend to like jump on things really instantly. Like, hey, this guy was caught on a camera up north. It wasn't him. So, but again, the conversation is open. That's why we're having it. We're just not going to throw everything out, because there are certain things we can say with definitive. That didn't happen. We do know that. So it's just good to talk about it all.
Well, and there's and there's the thing is there's so many times that we're speculating on these cases as to what could have happened and what couldn't have happened. And it turns out normally law enforcement keeps everything very, very close to the chest. So many times we don't find anything out until an arrest affidavit is released to the public or a trial goes public. All the truth comes out in a trial. So we don't, I promise you that we don't know, we know a fraction of what law enforcement knows. Yeah. I promise you that. No matter how public this is right now, I guarantee you that we only know a fraction of what law enforcement knows, because they're the professionals charged with responsibility of solving this. We're not. We're concerned people that want to, give our input.
And you know what? Again, if you guys have never seen Don't F with Cats on Netflix, go watch it. That case was broken wide open by people like us doing what we're doing right here. That's how it got solved. That guy's Canadian, by the way. Just so you guys are aware.
Yeah.
Creepiest dude ever.
Luca Magnotta.
Like creepiest guy you've ever laid your eyes on.
Yeah.
Too many fillers.
That whole case is disgusting. Like, I first heard about that a few years ago, watching or listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
It's totally insane what that guy did.
Okay, so I definitely want to make sure that you guys go follow Will on Will does mostly true crime, right? He's really good at it. So guys, go ahead and follow him on there. You're not going to go live tonight, Will. It's too late, but stay tuned, because he goes live probably every other day, or days I'm not doing it too. So make sure you head over there and show him your support. I appreciate it. And Will, thanks for coming on. I want to talk about that other case way more. Sounds like you do. Like, let's break it down. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. Everybody say bye to Will right now. Say it.
Later, guys. Thanks.
Okay. See you, dude. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Yeah, this is an interesting question. I don't know. Likely multiple states, to be honest with you. Yep. Awesome. Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining with us tonight. It's been 3 hours. It's generally my cutoff. I got to go to bed. Got a big day tomorrow. I'm heading to Ottawa as well. But if anything breaks, I'm sure we'll be back. We'll be talking about it. I really hope they find this guy really soon. It's getting ridiculous at this point. At some point, FBI and police are going to be like ridiculed. They're going to be held really high to account. They got it, like, with all the things that they can find this guy. So if we see it, we'll come back on and we will talk about it. So thank you for being with me this evening. I really appreciate you. Have yourself an incredible evening, and I will likely see you tomorrow. So